well, I say unfolding, at least the multitude of tornado warnings is just now unfolding. We're just now beginning to see more and more tornado warnings popping up over the last little while. These are all as a result of an interaction between what was a tropical storm at one point coming out of the eastern side of the state of Florida, working its way across the rest of the region. As a result, we have been seeing more and more in the way of precipitation that is making its way in this general area across North Carolina and South Carolina. So keeping that in mind, we'd like to make sure that you are aware of what is happening with some of the changing weather conditions. Right now, we are seeing a couple of tornado warnings that have popped up across North Carolina, now into Virginia, on the southern side of Virginia, tornado warnings that are still now reacting to the area here, just around South Hill, Lawrenceville, into the Alberta region there, McKinney. 2 tornado warnings here we're looking at here currently coming into McKinney on the south side. Let me get you oriented here again to where we are. This is just on the eastern coastline. I got a black background here. If it's not conducive to viewing on YouTube, let me know, and I'll change that over to a different color, but I thought right now that would be the best thing. We'll go south to north, just to the west of Roanoke Springs, where we do have a tornado warning in effect here for the next 2 minutes. This is going to be in effect as a weakening below severe limits storm, they tell us now, is within the tornado watch area. It's about to expire, but it was for northeastern Warren, northwestern Halifax County. That'll expire at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and that is because of that particular area. See how quickly this thing moved in and out of the box? These are moving at about 50 miles per hour to the north and to the northeast, and because of that, they're going to be in a box and out of a box before you really know it. I'm even going to take this down. I got 75 frames. I'm going to take this down to 14 frames and only do it for a certain amount of frames here to show you what I'm talking about. So all that moved down to the polygon very, very quickly. Didn't stay into the polygon for very long at all. The one to the north here in Virginia, that is a separate situation, a separate storm that we're watching here, that we are looking at. And that is the reason for the tornado warning that is sitting here just off to the north. That's going to be in effect here for the area. I got wiring I got to get rid of. Here we go. Tornado warning near McKinney. That's coming in from the south. It expires in 15 minutes. This is a tornado warning in effect for the central sections of Brunswick and Dinwiddie counties. Brunswick, Dinwiddie counties, you're underneath the tornado warning there for a little while longer. That's going to exist across that region as we move further and further into the afternoon from south and to the north. So keeping that in mind, we'd like to make sure that we are keeping you updated. Hold on for just 1 second. Let me fill out this information. And I might sneeze. Hold on. All right, here we go again. That tornado warning is still in effect there across the area for another 15 minutes. That's going to be near Dinwiddie and working its way a little further and further north as we go through time. But the big deal here overall is that these are moving fast. Got a couple of wheels on the ground watching this stuff. I think just for my own sake, I'm going to change my background here. This is Radar Omega, which I love about this. You can pick out a background until you find one that you like. I'm just going to use the regular one that has a little bit more information about what we're looking at as far as towns go. No, that one doesn't have enough roadways in it. So you can just keep going until you find the one that you actually like. And I'm going to use the one that just says satellite up here that has a lot of roadways on it, plus gives us some terrain indications of what's happening here as well. There's our tornado warning, the one that we still have in effect for southern sections of Richmond and south at Richmond, moving in from the south, we'll say. A lot of lightning being detected here, but these are all singular supercell thunderstorms that have been coming in over the past couple of hours. We're looking at AKQ. That is the radar site that we're following this from, AKQ. So at the moment, everything is in the southern sections of Virginia coming northward. RAX, we got a thunderstorm or two down here in Raleigh that we're looking at. Nothing severe anymore. These had come in. Brad, I can't talk to you now. I think, on the air. At least Heath says I am. And I'm going to pretend I am for the moment. Hold on. Still looking into Virginia here. I'm going to pretend I'm on because I do this anyway. Sometimes I do this just while I'm brushing my teeth. 85 is what we're looking at. Coming up 85 here on the western side near McKinney. That's where we had the little area there that we're looking at. The velocity data indicates to us it's kind of a broad sort of a situation at the moment. There's a broad rotation that is occurring here. Blackstone southward and eastward over to I-85. Still kind of watching that area there, and that's what I think, at least into the short term, is what we're looking at, is a tornado that might possibly be on the ground. So following that over the last little while, we are apparently looking at what's happening here into the short term as well. Brett says, go. Brett, I've been going. So Heath, give me one more confirmation that I am on, and I'll continue on at this point. But I do believe I am on. So right now into Virginia, the southern sections of Virginia, that's where the lone tornado warning is at the moment. Coming up I-85 on the western side, then that's 40 that we're looking at that goes west-east. It's going to be a county road 40 near the Fort Pickett Military Reservations, where that is at the moment, the Fort Pickett Military Reservation. I can zoom in a little bit more to show you. That's where the likelihood of a tornado is going to be, right in this area, right about there. And as a result, we've got that tornado warning from the National Weather Service there, giving us indication, information that that's what we're looking at. And that's what we'll be talking about for the next little while across the area. Brand new tornado warning now. This is for Sutherland, Virginia. Including Sutherland, Virginia. So that's going to be a little bit further on to the north where we have this current warning, brand new from the National Weather Service. So I'll get that out to you here momentarily. I believe they're just going to move that a little bit further to the north. This is going to be a day. Look, let me get a breath here to talk more and more about what's happening. And I apologize. We sort of popped on the air there, had a little technical difficulty to begin with. I didn't shave. I don't know what's on in the background. There's a screensaver of some kind that looks kind of funky and wonky, but I apologize because all of a sudden we had like 3 tornado warnings at the time, and you know, 1 or 2 we're going to let that kind of go to your discretion, but 3 or 4 we think we can help. So that's what we're doing here at the moment, is taking a look at what's going on with the warnings and the watches that are currently occurring. And the one that we have right now is going to be a tornado warning down to the south. A brand new one is about to be issued any second now for the area here again, I think just off to the north. And so we're going to pass that information along to you. Hi, I'm David Neal, and maybe you'll let me know who you are in the comments section over on the other side of the screen. Let's get back to what we do know we have right now, which is a sort of a situation that's unfolding here this afternoon. We're in a slight risk area as a result of the low pressure interaction with some of the warm, moist air coming in out of the Atlantic Ocean. Now, it's not that warm anymore the further north you go, but the dew points are considerably higher here in these areas. And now you can certainly see that we do have quite a bit of precipitation breaking out far inland. This has been pretty far inland over the past couple of hours. We do have the tornado warnings. There's the extension of the one that we had down to the south. So this is in anticipation of the fact that we had a tornado warning down to the south that's now moving northeastward. So they did include that. This is going to be now for South Chesterfield County and Dinwiddie County in South Central Virginia, Amelia County there in Central Virginia. This is going to go until 1:30 now. 1:30 is the time of expiration into McKinney, moving northeast at 35 to 40 miles per hour. All of these. This is out of the National Weather Service office there in Wakefield, Virginia. Have I said one word completely and totally acceptable just yet? Anyway, that's where this is. That's where it is moving. There's no hail here. It's radar indicated as a tornado. Why is it radar indicated? Well, we'll look at the velocity data. That tells us that we do have a spin, a rotation that is occurring. But normally, that is going to mean that we do have a correlation coefficient, a drop of some sort, an anomaly that is beginning to show up. And we do. So let me show you what they're talking about here. The National Weather Service office says that there is some sort of debris aloft. And you can really see it here along Highway 40 coming in on the western side of McKinney. And that's a result of this stuff right here. The anomaly that shows up in our data right there is what we're looking at. And that's going to be some sort of debris signature, some sort of debris aloft. All this is rain off on the eastern side of this. All this is on the western side. That's all rainfall there. But the anomaly that is showing up is the fact that we do have some sort of debris aloft that the radar is picking up and says this is not a raindrop like all the others. This is a different sort of a thing here. So it shows that there's a different color. There's a lot of lightning there associated with it. But you see these 2 pixels right here? I know they may not look like much, but those are 2 that we're aware of. Those are 2 that weren't there to scan before and that are now moving. So in that movement, we would know that we do have something aloft. Could be in this case just about anything. It doesn't have to mean that there are, that's a house or anything, or Dorothy or the dog or anything else like that. That could mean that this is basically some branches, some small branches or something to that sort. U.S. Highway 460, I believe it is. It's coming out of Hebron and moving over to Sutherland. Sutherland, you are involved in this. You're in the middle of the area here that we are looking at. If we're moving to the northeast at 35 miles per hour, and our center point is down in here, moving at 35. I'm going to calculate that and show you some of the estimated times of arrival are right where my face is. Here we go. Rocky Run at about 12:21. Now, these are these are going to be Central Time, and we're on Eastern Time over there. That's 12:21, so that's 1:21 Eastern Time. Walker's at 1:29, and at 1:39 into Sutherland is what we are looking at as far as an estimated time of arrival goes. Reflectivity, showing you again, right here is where our tornado is likely going to be. We got to get rid of that. Tornado is likely going to be right here in this little curvature here on the bottom side. Rocky Run, Baltimore Center, corner there is just off to the north. This is moving slowly. At least the center is moving off to the north and northeast. The whole thing moving at 35 miles per hour along I-85. Dinwiddie is right up here. This is Dinwiddie County, by the way, on the western side of Petersburg. 85 is what we're looking at, and where we're watching most of this unfold right before our eyes. Also, there are boots on the ground. There are people who are watching this. We'll be getting some more information from them as we move along through the rest of this afternoon. Clearly, this is a situation that has been popping up here over the last little while. And by a little while, I mean 2 or 3 days. Ever since we had landfall of the storm down to the south, Nicole, that moved in and was producing the really bad weather there in the way of what was coming on shore there on the eastern shore of the state of Florida, up through South Georgia during the day yesterday, with some off and on just scattered tornado warnings. We were on the air last night for a while with Chris Jackson, and, just had an errant tornado warning or two. I looked up a few moments ago. There were 3, so I decided to pop on here for a moment, just in case we were truly on the upswing of what was happening throughout the day today. Right now, we do have, I'll throw on the METARs to show you that the dew points across the area they're sticky. I mean, we're up into the 70s now. The dew points are into the 70s in Blackstone and Victoria, back over to Petersburg. We're into the 70s here, 72 degrees. My personal dew point number where I get concerned in the spring is 63, 64 degrees. So 73 would be 10 more, which is going to be 10 times more, volatile, if you ask me. It's a factor of 10. Anyway, that's where we are at the moment. We're watching this very closely. It's moving off to the northeast. You can see this on the radar image. I'll put it in motion for you to show you basically what we're looking at from the southwest to the north and to the east, just to the west of Petersburg, is where it's at. That's where all the conditions are getting worse and worse across the area. We know for a fact that all this area here, too, is we've had quite a bit of rainfall here. It's been off and on raining for a while during the day this morning. Off to the eastern side, as you get over to Gloucester, into the courthouse over here, we're looking at Jamestown there. This is right in and along I-64 coming in on the western side, US 17 there. We still have some of the precipitation and some cellular formed storms that we're looking at. These are all cellular and have a little rotation at the bottom southwest corner of each one of these. Not a lot, but a little is showing up here across all of these areas. The one rotation that seems dominant, and actually I say it's dominant when it just now came back, and it's not dominant. This is not, and we do have boots on the ground. I'm watching a live image, or I have been during the day today, of someone who's been following this. This is the difference between an actual tornado and an actual meso that is just spinning a broad spin area. And it's a great one for me to be able to explain here to you overall, because it shows up very, very well what we are seeing. See the pixels, the white pixels in between the reds and the greens? Green is going toward the radar site. Red is going away from the radar site. And so then we have broken pixels in between. That means that it is a broad rotating sort of a situation here, and not a very tight tornado that is occurring. I think even within this storm, I can show you what a tight area that was a tornado. Actually, there's another one following up here near Crest, so we'll be watching that pretty closely. But as I I back this up. I may have to go back more than 14 frames. I'm going to go back 30. And we'll look at when this was actually a likely tornado that was, showing visibly and was on the ground. Right there, if it was a tornado, it was a huge one. But here's more of what we would call a pixel-to-pixel type situation where we knew that we did have a tornado right there at that point because there was no pixelization in between the change in direction. And again, I'll back up a little bit further here to give you a little bit better idea of when this thing was honking. I know right there, even right there, we had pixel to pixel. We had immediate change in the wind direction according to the radar, according to the Doppler radar. Meaning this was going this way, this was going this way, and it was tight. So right there in the middle is a tornado that was occurring. So quite basically here, that was right around Lawrenceville. Quite, the rest of it, I'd even have to back up a little bit more. We'll go back 50 frames. This is out of the Norfolk radar here, or if you live in the area, Norfolk. Let me show you here. We'll go backward in time again. Several times there. That thing was ugly. And even though, like right here, even though it was small, that's a tornado, folks. That's when you look at it and you go, that is a tornado because it is so pixel to pixel. There's nothing in between the 2 pixels and the change of direction, so it is what it is. This going away from, this coming toward the radar site right there. So we had a spinning, rotating vortex that was taking place. It was right on the border at that point, right on the border between North Carolina and Virginia when that basically happened. Let's get up to date now and talk about where we are at this very moment, and that's with the 2 tornado warnings. It's one's an extension of the other. First of all, coming out of McKinney, moving on to the north, and as you can see right here at this point, this is the one that is showing us that we have most of the precipitation associated with it, and the adjacent, down to the south, the adjacent velocity data that does change over. Again, at this moment, looks a little broad, but things could change very rapidly here as we move along with all of this in that general direction, just off of US 460 on the south side near Walker's. A continuation of what we saw a little bit earlier, which is some of the heavier precipitation coming in, but also the change of the direction of the wind. I don't have anything that looks like it would be any kind of damage that is on the ground. In fact, the correlation coefficient looks fairly benign here, starting out with basically everything that shows up there into the short term. High-res velocity, yeah, there are singular cells there. This one down near Emporia is one that we'd be watching because it does have a little hook at the bottom of it that's coming across town here at the moment. And near US 58, it looks like, and I-95 on the eastern side. Some rotation there for sure, but not, it doesn't just scream. Once you've been doing this for a long, long time, you look at it and you go yes or no. I know right now some of those pixels look a little, these are not gate-to-gate kind of pixels. They're not pixel-to-pixelization of a change of direction. So kind of what we do see there at the moment is everything that's beginning to change over just a little bit there from time to time from singular cells as we have seen. That lone tornado warning that we have still off to the north is what we are looking at. There are plenty more cells down to the south, and just to get you an idea of where we are with our day-to-day, we presently do have a slight risk for strong to severe thunderstorms. Mostly this risk is because of the fact that we do have tornado activity that is likely. In fact, I'll read it to you here. Slight risk of severe thunderstorms through the afternoon. This came in just after 10 o'clock. So 11 o'clock, this was issued from the Storm Prediction Center out of Norman, Oklahoma. A couple of tornadoes possible through the mid-afternoon this afternoon to the Carolinas and Virginia. Large hail will be the main severe threat in South Texas today. I was about to say, there's no large hail here, but South Texas, where there's a slight risk there as well into the afternoon. The remnants of Nicole will accelerate northeastward. Weakened tonight over the mid-Atlantic, and in the interim, there will still be the potential for broken convective bands for North Carolina and Virginia. This afternoon, the same low-level destabilization occurs in cloud breaks. So that's what we're looking at. It's a little bit of sunshine, hour or two leads to instability. So basically, that's what we'll be looking at with these thunderstorms. They'll go from being a little bit of nothing to an hour's worth of instability will lead to destabilization, rising air rapidly. So pretty much, okay, thank you. I just now got confirmation that I'm on TV. So one person's watching. Heath, thank you very much for that information. If you got any more information I can pass along, Heath, that would be great too. So the supercells this afternoon into the tornadic environment there will be in convective bands. There are, if you just want to get really, really excited about it, there are curved low-level photographs with effective shear levels or shears, the 200 meters per square per second per square. Let me figure that out. I don't know what that is in miles per hour. But anyway, it's bad. That all comes together and means there's some bad stuff. All right, brand new tornado warning. That's a little bit further to the west. You can see over near Martinsville. This is on the southwestern side of Virginia. Martinsville, that's a brand new tornado warning. We'll get into that in 1 sec as soon as I get rid of all the clutter here. And boom, shakalaka boom, there's your tornado warning. Martinsville, that goes now for the next 12 minutes. In northwestern Henry County, the National Weather Service issues a tornado warning here. I was about to. Now this is a little odd to me, although I do weather, so about everything can be and will be odd. This is out of the National Weather Service in Blacksburg, Virginia. They just issued a tornado warning in effect. For a few minutes, I thought. Goes until 1:30. Yeah, so it's like. It's in effect for a short amount of time. Issued at 1:17. So anyway, National Weather Service issued us a Blacksburg, Virginia tornado warning. Northwestern Henry County goes until 1:30. Severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado. It's very close to Spencer at the moment. It's moving to the north at 35 miles per hour. So there's 12 minutes in this tornado warning here at the second. We're going to the Blacksburg, Virginia radar and take a look at this, actually. And there it is. Little small thing, little bitty thing, little tiny little itty-bitty little thing coming in across the area here. And even where the dew points are super low, 54 degrees. Is that true? 54? Wow. Dew points are super low here. We do, in fact, have, is that a dew point? That's a temperature of 56 with a dew point of 54. I told you 63 was my number. Well, that doesn't mean anything when you got this, which is a rotating area there that's just to the north of Spencer, southwestern Virginia, moving northward. Decent gate-to-gate shear here. I mean, we're looking at some of these velocities being reported here into the 50-mile-per-hour range and 60 in one direction. And 20 to 30 into the other gives you a net shear of about 70 miles per hour. And if there's a tornado that's on the ground, it would be in this area here. Let me tell you something. I've been up here many, many times before. I actually gave a school talk over here in the mountains, and this is south of Blackberry. So it's going to be very difficult there to get a lot of great data out of there with the mountains the way they are. But if there's anything, this is the correlation coefficient, which we're just going to call. I wish we'd just rename this the debris thing, and that's what we'll kind of call this at this point. But velocity data indicates there could be a small tornado there. It might be visible, actually, if you're on the south side, because this is in the dry air. If you're in Spencer, Lakewood Forest, if you are in Horse Pasture, we were talking about town names that were just a little bit different. Horse Pasture. I'm from Horse Pasture, which is, if you don't know Horse Pasture, then you know I'm just down from Grassy Creek, which is there into the area south of, Grassy Creek. So what we're looking at here is a possible tornado. If you're down here in Lakewood Forest, you're looking at the likelihood of a tornado down just in that general area. This is a tornado warning for the next 9 minutes. That'll be including that western part of Henry County in south central Virginia. Also, another little thunderstorm or two there that we'll be watching. One or two down near Mount Airy that we will keep watching as well. They just reissued or reconnected with. And let me show you, here's some of the velocity data that comes from way on the other side of the state that still says there's some inbound and outbound into the high areas, into the higher velocity areas here. And let me get back to the radar site here, a little bit closer to where we are. Two ways, if you have Radar Omega, let me show you a little tutorial here. If you have Radar Omega and you see a box, a tornado polygon that is drawn, you want to get to it really quick and not just go around looking for the radar thing. I see it's down here near Wakefield, AKQ. But the best way to go about it, or the quickest way, is to actually hit the polygon and then hit this area right here that has the radar symbol on it, and boom, it takes you to the closest radar that there is. Love that about this product. This is Radar Omega that we're using exclusively because I like it. Now The other thing I want you to see right now is maybe what is developing. I mean, just if you looked at the reflectivity alone, you'd say, hey, check this out. There's an area right here of no precip, and there's a little bit of a kink right here coming in. We got dry air on this side. This looks tornado-y. I know that is a word for today. And there is inbound and outbound there. So if I'm the radar operator there, I'm like, check this out, guys. This is the brand new scan that came in. It is not a tornado warning at the moment. I don't make these, and I won't make these on the air, but I see the same radar that they do. I've been using it as long as probably almost 90% of the people there. So I kind of know when I see and what I see. And that's a developing sort of a spin situation there. It's in the same environment as the one above it. So high probability, we would say. So just kind of looking at that, and that becomes a little bit worrisome now as we look at the one to the south as well. So we have two of them there that are of some concern. Nothing as far as the debris signature goes down in that area, but nonetheless, the reflectivity, I don't like the way that looks. Obviously, there is something spinning here pretty rapidly inside of this situation, and we got some velocity data that goes to prove that. Kind of a broad situation at the moment. I don't see pixel-to-pixel stuff that we would be looking at, but nonetheless, that looks so suspect to me. Again, I don't make the calls, but if the National Weather Service is watching us over there, I'm sure they're watching this thing too very well. And if there's two signatures here, there's one to the north, there's one to the south that is very concerning to us. Has to be this one right here, National Weather Service office over there, as they watch this, and they make the calls on whether or not these are going to be tornado warned or not. But that one looks very, 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 very suspicious down there. And if I'm not mistaken, I think they now think so too. Well, anyway, tornado warning right up here, just off to the north. That is still has 6 more minutes on that tornado warning. The thing down to the south here does not have a warning on it just yet, but we're watching that so closely, as well as a couple of other storms that we're looking at further on down the track. Now, this has fully become an established track now that we're looking at. This is telling us that we do have a series of storms. If you look at them, there are quite a few of them in place now across this area. The 1 here, 2 here, 3 here, 4, 5, however you want to number them. These are single cell, supercell thunderstorms. They have the potential to produce tornadoes for the rest of this afternoon in this area here. There will probably be some more growth. You can already see it down to the south and the Williamston, Robertson, and throughout the rest of this area. That's going to be a continuation as we go through the next little while in both of those regions. So following those very, very closely, doing so through the rest of the afternoon. Well, I'll be Johnny. There is a tornado warning for that very thing that we were looking at down to the south there. They did go ahead and name that a tornado, which just made a lot of sense because, again, they're looking at the same radar that I am, so we likely right there saw the same thing. So they issued the tornado warning for the very next scan, and now we're 2 more scans into this, and it's moving pretty rapidly. But there's a tornado here, folks, and a little broad, just a little bit broad at the moment. Now this one to the north looks a little more likely to be producing a tornado. You get a few more. Let me see. That's the velocity data. Let's try our debris signature data here for just a second. I don't see any debris aloft in either storm. Both of them somewhat look benign there when it comes to that. But as far as the velocity data goes, there's your inbound and your outbound. A tiny bit broad again still at the moment, like through here. Normally you'd see a heightened pixel. You'd see one of these pixels that had a higher wind speed than all the rest on either side, like in here and here. Well, that isn't the case here at the moment, which for me is a good sign. This one looks to have a little heightened wind on this side of this, right in this area, right in here. And so here's where our tornado would likely be near our Marmona, I believe it's called. That's going to be just south of 623, County Road 623 and Sutherland Road is what we'd be projecting and expecting. So 2 tornado warnings that we have there into the area. Those both are responsible for what is moving in across McKinney and all the way up into just south of Chester there in Richmond, Virginia, on a beeline to move into the Richmond area sometime over the next couple of hours. In fact, we'll do a little time estimate time of arrival here if we can. We'll draw the storm track. It ends up starting here, but we want it to go all the way out here to Richmond. And if we do that now at 45 miles per hour, we calculate this, getting into Richmond sometime there, looks like it would be around 1:58 Eastern time in Richmond, Virginia, 1:58. So got a little while, got about 30 minutes now on this estimated time of arrival. Some of these others, though, we're looking at, I wish I could put this in Eastern time. I apologize for that. I'm not going to use it too much because of that. But add an hour, if you would, if you live in this area. Land of Pines at about 1:48, coming into the Bellwood area at about 1:49. And the total population within the one polygon that I drew there, coming into southern Richmond, that total population center is a little over 1 million people, 1,100,000. And so high population centers here. You're going to be hearing the sirens, probably the outdoor sirens that would be occurring in some of these areas in the next little while, coming in from the southwest. And why? It's because of this stuff coming in on the southwestern side of town. That's where we are at the moment. I'm meteorologist David Neal. Live Storms Media is what you're watching here on YouTube. And as we go through the rest of this afternoon, we'll be watching very closely with you as to what actually happens here. We had 3 or 4 tornadoes there that were on the, I shouldn't say on the ground, that were on the map at least about an hour ago. So I decided to come on here and try to help with some of the situation. I don't want to forget what's happening here into Western Virginia. We'll go back over here to the radar, in fact, and take a look at this storm. It was a little storm that could and did, and right now it has blown out just a little bit. It is not what it was a few moments ago. Anyway, it doesn't have the tightly packed inbound and outbound with it. It was working in an environment that was so non-conducive to being what it wanted to be. Right there it is, and right there, I'm pretty sure if you were in Pleasant Grove, if you were in Rangeley, I hope I got that right, Stanleytown, you probably saw this because it was rain-free on the southeastern side, and you could look all the way into it. Dillon's Fork is where it was at about that time. Lots of forks here. Panafil Fork is over here as well. Peniel Fork, I blew that. Some of this is text, it's really small. I need glasses, but I apologize for that. There's nothing worse than getting my town incorrectly pronounced. I apologize for that. And I've worked with national weather for quite some time. I normally just stay away from stuff I don't know for sure. This is Philpott. I feel pretty confident about that. And Henry to the north, which is on the west side of 220 there, State 220, that goes up and down the line. And again, the latest from the radar site there does say that this storm has weakened, at least that rotation has weakened considerably. I don't see the inbound and the outbound that we had. Again, just as I say, I don't call storms. I don't get to say what is a tornado warning and what is not. I do, in fact, can look at this with the folks at the National Weather Service and see that that's weakened considerably. It's in a really harsh environment over here with 54 degrees. Of a dew point. It normally takes much higher than that to produce a long-term tornado. We've had a couple today that have been long-term, long-track tornadoes down to the south that we've been watching. RAX radar has been pretty busy early in the day today with a couple of those. And then as you come northward, look at these dew point conditions. We're into the low 70s still at this hour across this portion of eastern sections of the Virginias. Those will continue to slide in that general direction. And keeping you aware of what is happening here. I'm getting no information at all about any changes that are happening here or any kind of damage that's been done. It doesn't look like that's going to be the case in the last few minutes here. I don't see any kind of signatures. Heath, he's our spotter, our track spotter. He's on turn 3 today, and Heath is kind of watching what's happening in turn 3, Heath. And if you just let me know if I should hit the wall or what should I do at this point. Because I will hit that wall and I will put it to the floor, baby, if that's what we need to do. Anyway, that's where we stand at the moment. Reflectivity, again, goes back to that. It's going to rain and rain pretty hard into this area there across the central sections of Richmond, Virginia. It's coming in on the southwest side of the city in Richmond. It'll be moving into the city here very shortly. If you're doing any traveling here, I would expect that to be the case as we go through the next little while on the south side of town. So that's where we are with this whole thing. Yeah, we'd Chastain it is what we would do. There you go, from Richmond all the way down to Emporia and the rest of the area. Let's look at our velocity data. We'll show you. There's a lot of mess going on down here, a little messy area, if you will. KAQ, let's go to that and take a another perspective here. Both of these storms are still, kind of rotating. The one that we have on the south side, not like it was a little bit earlier. I don't like the way this looks, and I don't know if I can find a camera in Richmond. But coming in on the south side, this doesn't look like a tropical tornado, like a quickie. I don't know. I mean, if this is a tornado that's on the ground, it's humongous. So I don't really think it's a tornado at this point. I don't see any debris signature there. This is going to be near the town of Leader and working its way northward into Virginia, where we have a dew point of 73 degrees. It's super, super juicy there. My grandmother used to say, no, this wasn't Grandma. Who said this? Maybe Grandpa. It's one of those days where if you have your shirt off, you're sitting in a chair, and you get up, the chair's coming with you. It's just a super sticky kind of a day outside to where you hit a cloud with a stick and it's going to rain. It's that unstable. The instability factor is way, way high here out of Highland Springs into the Mechanicsville area in Tuckahoe. Watch out. Coming in from the south side and moving northward across the city of Richmond, it's going to be more or less a little bit like that from the south side. So we'll be looking at that as we move along through time here. We got more and more in the way of precipitation with some of these other storms down to the south, but I don't see a lot of rotation. Precipitation, but not a lot of rotation. That's the first time that's ever flowed off of my tongue like that. Down to the south here, we got a little bit more activity here. Inbound, outbound stuff, nah, not a lot of it, but this is coming in out of Lewiston, Woodville, through that area, Williamston, Hamilton, through that region too. Some more of the storms. They did let that expire off into the western side of the state there, over at the FCK area there in Blacksburg, Virginia. The other area that has some training sort of going on with 1, 2, 3 storms. You can see them. I said storms. I don't see lightning, but nonetheless, that's kind of what we're looking at. And they're all doing the same thing here. They're all veering with height. You've got that shape to them a little bit there, that little comma shape that shows up the curvature, which says that as we go up into the atmosphere, the wind is blowing from another direction, starts out coming in from the south at the bottom of this whole thing, but then changes over to a southwesterly with a little bit of height. So as you can see, that causes the little bowing, the little hooking that occurs. Now, at some point in that whole stage, this can turn down into a funnel, end up somewhere producing a tornado somewhere. But not at this moment. It doesn't look like that is going to be the case right there, but plenty of stuff coming in on the western side. It looks like, if you will, the Chesapeake Bay, on the western side of the bay, and moving through all that area. Very highly populated region there, coming in through the south side of the city. And Annapolis off to the north there, Fredericksburg here to the west. The 2 tornado warnings we currently have are still active down to the south. This one still has another 24 minutes in it. The one to the north, the furthest north that we have from the National Weather Service, again, out of Wakefield, Virginia. They're saying central Chesterfield County, Enrico County, and also Dinwiddie County is the counties that we're looking at underneath the tornado warning. About 10 miles to the west of Virginia State University is where this one is, near Sutherland. That's moving to the northeast at 35. I've been calculating about 45 out of most of my what I've got here. But the tornado here, first one, is going to be just to the west of Leader. So you put the velocity data on that. It matches up very well. The velocity data and the reflectivity show up just about the same here. I can double box this for you to show you what I am talking about. The double box should have something different, shouldn't it? Now let's try this and see. We've got reflectivity on the left-hand side, and we do have the actual inbound, outbound on the right-hand side. This is velocity data on the right. This is the latest in the actual. I hit a target, I came back, and I'm going to draw a color. And that's, again, just south of the Chesterfield Courthouse. I remember a tornado going over the Chesterfield Courthouse once or twice. And this is coming in on the south-hand side. There's a camera somewhere, a public camera that you can tell me about that I could use, a university camera maybe, somewhere up there, .gov. If you could find that for me, that would be greatly appreciated. I'd like to pass that along to people who are watching, or if you're out there watching and you you've got one that I can use. I'd love to see that, see what's coming in from the south-hand side. Visibility should be pretty high here as everything is doing its deal today. The visibility should be pretty high coming in to all these areas because these are single cell. They're not rain wrapped or anything like that. They should be visible. I know that we need to have a guy who was on this, an analyst who was on this early in the day today, who was reporting back, sending back some video that was very vivid, where you could see this thing pretty well from either side, and that's definitely what the deal is. Now, still looking into the central sections of this, I can look at both simultaneously. I know it's a little bit deceiving here, but let me show you. I've split the screen right here. Let me draw a bigger line here. This is a split screen now. Over here on your left, this is just reflectivity. That is, the radar beam goes out, hits a target, and comes back. It doesn't say anything about the target. It discriminates none. Sees the target, comes back, and shows you the intensity of the target by the brighter colors. So a darker orangey red is going to be a larger target than the one that is green. Green's a little bit light rain. Over here on your right, we have what's basically spin. This is giving us back rotation. It's telling us where we have that target going in another direction. So one thing that the radar does super super is it lets us know where we have a change in direction. That target is moving. It's called the Doppler effect. You send it out, and I don't want to get into all that at the moment, but nonetheless, what it is telling us is where we have a change in direction going to and from the radar site. You as a viewer, if you look at that overall and you didn't see the boxes, you'd say, ooh, I think I see something up here. Doesn't take a meteorologist, doesn't take a scientist to say, this is obviously something. This is a change in direction. The only thing about it is that the pixelization isn't super tight in any one spot. We don't see a pixel that goes to a higher color rapidly, except for what is in the outbound, and that's this right here. You got a little bit of an outbound that peaks there, but on the other side where we have the inbound stuff, it's the same velocities. All these are the same velocities showing up right now at the moment. But if there is a tornado, it's going to be right here, probably right in there somewhere. Let's look at the reflectivity. Yeah, shows up pretty well. They match up there at the same time. You don't always look at those, though, and switch and go, okay, they didn't match up. Sometimes they don't match up because they come in at different times. This is all in a 5 to 6 minute 6-minute period where we're going up in levels, 15, 16 levels, where this radar beam is going up, spins around, goes up and spins around, goes up and spins around. And so as a result, you know, it's kind of like that. The situation is kind of like that. But there's where the tornado would likely be, just in the southwestern side. Pocahontas Acres. Pocahontas Acres is right there to the north. Let's hope it doesn't get near the Pocahontas State Park. That's pretty close to that area. If you look and see if there's any kind of a correlation coefficient, there is not. Again, nothing looks like there is debris there. A good sign overall. Now, the radial is showing something in this area. And this is always sort of a, when you look at this. Now, the actual site is Wakefield, Virginia. That is AKQ down to the south. And now you see that there's a artifact in the beam. And even though there's not a succinct little area, there is an artifact in the beam that starts here. That's a sword that moves out from the beam, which matches up again with what's happening with the direction or the line that is established all the way down to the radar site. If I'm not making sense, just say it. Just put it in the discussion. So here's the radar beam going out. Well, there's something it's hitting right in here. It could be hail, except it's not here, because these are not that high. These thunderstorms are not that high. So there's an artifact because the beam does that. So there is some debris right in there. Doesn't show up really, really well, but does tell us that something is a little bit odd, a little bit different right there in the beam. And so now we do have sort of a debris signature there. In fact, I think they're going to call this a radar-indicated tornado, saying that there is some confirmation of whatever is happening here as a result of that. Let me see. This is located near the Chesterfield Courthouse, or near Chester, moving to the northeast at 35 miles per hour. It's a tornado warning is in effect here into the area. Keep that in mind as we move along over the next couple of hours here. Very changeable situation coming into the Richmond area very soon. I did notice a new tornado warning over here to the western side of the state. And again, the quickest way to go to that radar is right there. There's the radar site. These are small. These are the tiny ones, again, into the air sample that is so much cooler, should be so much more stable. Just south and west of Rocky Mount, North Carolina, for the next 18 minutes, the National Weather Service has issued a tornado warning here for central Franklin County. That goes until 2 o'clock, central Franklin. So your thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado there. It's located near Ferrum, moving to the north at about 14 miles per hour. And you can see on the bottom side of this, you have the little whip there down to the south. But we're also looking at the velocity data showing us a small. Now, see, I've got more confidence as a meteorologist, as a scientist watching all this. I have more confidence in this one tiny little signature being a true and honest tornado than I do that whole broad area that we were looking at back over there near Richmond. But we do have an inbound and an outbound here, and it's pretty tightly packed. It is gate to gate. It is pixel to pixel. And so I have no doubt believing there is a tornado there somewhere into the area just south of the ski resort at Beach Mountain. This is not too far away. Ferrum is one of the cities a lot of people go to and stay, but Beach Mountain is out here, and we're about to come just south of the resort there. Maybe they have a camera, so they're probably going to be doing that as we do move along here through the time period where much of this is going to be moving northward through that county. Barfoot off to the north. Huge polygon here, by the way. They drew this thing with a large window. They started this thing. I'm not really sure why this happened, because this is one of the biggest opportunities, windows of opportunities where the beam opens up there. But nonetheless, this is just to the west of 220, US 220, and coming into this section from the south. I don't know if there's any kind of a correlation coefficient that shows up there. Not exactly. Again, this is very mountainous up in here, obviously, or you wouldn't be able to ski there. Can't ski there right now anyway because it is too warm. The dew point's sitting there into the 50s. So that is a tornado warning on the western side of the state. Getting very, very concerned about this one here on the eastern side of the state. This is back over to near Richmond, Virginia, where the dew point is 73 degrees. We have all reason to believe that we have a tornado in this area, and I believe that now because as I look at the beam, I can see that there is some correlation coefficient associated with this. That means there is some sort of a debris that is beginning to show up. You can see it right here in this area. That's going to be right there. That is the difference in what I saw from the last image that showed up just moments ago in the radial. It still goes off across the other part of this. So it's underneath that one pretty well as it moves on northward and eastward. I can show you, in fact, that the velocity data shows that might be a serious situation beginning to unfold there. Pretty soon, Brad Adair will probably be joining us here. I'm going to look up any minute and see his happy face on the Ninja, and we'll be speaking to him in just a few moments. But this is likely going to be a tornado now. This is on the western side, if you will, the Pocahontas State Park, coming in from the southwestern side near Deerfield Estates. Just to sort of give you a movement by movement, the KFCI airport is just out there across the road from 288. Is that going to be 288? I think it's 288 right there. But an inbound and an outbound. In fact, that one little outbound is going to be a pretty high number. That's going to be in the 60 mile per hour range going away from the radar site, which is down here to the southeast. Away from the radar site, so the probability of a tornado is a little bit more likely, I think, in that area just from the last scan that we did see. And yes, now there is a very sincere and succinct drop in the correlation coefficient, the anomaly that we often talk about. We were looking at that radial, meaning, it's a suspect area. Well, now it's really beginning to fill in. Let me just show you. I'll go back a couple of images, just one or two images, and follow the change that is occurring here. And that's right there where we had a sampling that did say there was something aloft. The radar beam believes that there is well, it doesn't believe. The radar beam never, humans exaggerate. If I catch a fish, it's a couple of pounds less than probably what I say it is. Did y'all see the story about the guys who were cheating, who were fishing and doing fishing and cheating? That's horrible. That's comparable to like kicking your dog or something. That was a terrible, terrible thing, cheating and fishing tournaments. Anyway, tornado here across this area. That's going to be on the south side of town. 13 more minutes left on this tornado warning that's in effect here for Chesterfield near the courthouse there. That's going to be central Enrico County. Dinwiddie County and Chesterfield County underneath tornado warnings here, coming in from the southwest, moving northeastward. Pretty rapid pace overall. Not to forget, still a tornado warning over the western side of the state here as well. The National Weather Service there out of Blacksburg, Virginia, issued this tornado warning located near Ferrum, moving northeast at about 40 miles per hour. And small thing, it wasn't very large at all, still isn't very large at all, and shouldn't last very long. These are going to be the short-term ones that pop up, but there's still an inbound and an outbound there near Wadsboro that shows up very well on the radar. This is just off Cook's Knob. You ever been to Cook's Knob right there? Sure you have. Just to the northeast of Ferrum. It's going to be moving over to Hay Run and Barfoot into the Rocky Mount area, maybe just to the west, maybe in between everything as we look at this for the moment. And so still kind of watching what's happening in both of those areas. Got confirmation from a couple of people here who say that they don't see a tornado there in the full. I don't know exactly where this person is, but doesn't see a storm on the south as of now. But anyway, that's where one tornado warning is. Let me see, what's the expiration time on that? We still have 12 minutes on that tornado warning, so I'll get back to that very shortly and keep you up to date on what's happening there with that whole situation. Let me come down with my volume just a tad because I'm starting to talk loud. Here we go. AKQ, back to the radar here because this is a sort of a breaking situation. I don't like the way that looks at all. Under it, there's 2 or 3 of them here. He's under which one? Under this thing? That's because that's pretty ugly. If he's under that and he's telling you he sees nothing, then he's looking in the wrong direction. There's some 80-mile-per-hour winds associated with that. To the south here, not a lot. That's a broad sort of circulation that's occurring. It's going to end up being in the same polygon as the one to the north here, so it'll be a little bit weird what they're going to do with that. 288 is the road. It's the World War II Veterans Memorial Highway, which is apropos for the moment. That is 288 and is crossing over Deerfield Estates right now, coming into town on the western side. If you are living on the western side, if you will, of Chester, you should be aware that there is a possible tornado coming in on the west side of town now. This is not that far away from coming on into Richmond. The city of Richmond is sitting up there. It's not that far to the north. We're only looking at... let me see here. We're looking at 10 miles away. That whole thing is about 10 miles away from the downtown Richmond area on the southwestern side, looking at the Norfolk radar, and probably, moving to the north here. 73 degrees is the dew point temperature now at KFCI. It's super high, super juicy across that entire region. Just to show you again another perspective, that was the latest that came in. Now it's a little bit broad again. I don't expect these to be... We had one earlier that was a long track tornado. I mean, that sucker was on the ground for a while. I watched it for an hour. I don't know how much longer it was on the ground after that, but it was definitely on the ground for a while there. This has a little bit of a non-pixelization in the middle, or at least it doesn't have the same kind of wraparound that it did a little bit earlier. This is just to the west of I-95 and still moving basically from the west and to the east. There is about to be a brand new severe thunderstorm watch issued. I just got that statement. It'll take them a minute to get that out as to where it is. But a severe thunderstorm watch is going to be in effect. That's Texas. That's back to the west. We don't want to forget about Texas. We'll be getting into Texas a little bit more as we go through the rest of this evening. They don't have imminent tornado warnings at the moment back into Texas, but there is a risk back there that we were looking at a little bit earlier. Here's our slight risk over here into the Virginias, a slight risk that has very active tornado warnings at the moment. But down to the south here, we also have a slight risk that includes San Antonio down into the Corpus Christi region, all the way down to Brownsville. There's a marginal risk that goes northward. Our slight risk area, though, is here in yellow, and that would tell us that there is the risk for thunderstorms during the day today. They didn't go with a tornado watch, but the occasional tornado is always possible when you get these sort of situations. So we look kind of in that general area there that might be, and this is marginal, meaning that a few are possible. And it always seems like that is sort of the situation that may happen. The slight risk here. Actually, let me see if I can get these through your thunderstorm watch up. That would be a little bit better information here for us. Let me go out of that and go to the sphere area here down to the south. They make me go way down here to find it. Weather alert settings, and I'm going to turn on the watch, severe thunderstorm watch area there. And now it did nothing. But it's because it hasn't been issued yet. They're still discussing this watch. They're drawing the aerial for this, and that takes a little bit more time than just saying, hey, there's going to be a severe thunderstorm watch. But conditions are favorable for that to take place just in and along the southern tip of Texas, here across central Texas. Storms will start developing here later on this evening as the environment gets a little bit juicier. It's going to report supercells are producing isolated. They'll be looking for large hail, 3-inch kind of hail that may be taking place there in southern Texas. So we'll be watching out for that. We'll let you know what's happening with that, too. We don't disregard anything when it comes to that sort of a situation. But right now we do have tornadoes. Get rid of these buoys because they're just really kind of bothering me at this point. Where's the marine stuff? Marine tools. Bye-bye buoys. And there we go. Now, back here into the system again as it is. The 2 tornado warnings that we still have are 3. It's actually 2. Let's go over here to this one and get a check on it. 7 more minutes on this tornado warning into the western part of the state. This is from the National Weather Service office there once again out of Franklin County, central Franklin County. You are underneath a tornado warning in Franklin County. 7 more minutes on that warning, I understand. Now, from Blacksburg, Virginia, this is just the west of Rocky Mount. There's still some. Go back to that. Get back to that, please. What has happened to everything? All right. We'll go back and look at it this way. Single site radar site. Do that and that and that and that. And then do that. And then we're going to do this. There you go. So there's the likely tornadoes occurring right here. Doesn't have the same thing associated with it, but nonetheless, that's kind of what it looks like at this point. Brand new tornado warning. This one's a fresh tornado warning coming in. It's going to be on the east side. This is East Highland Park, actually. It'll fill in momentarily, but this is back to the east again. This is where they're issuing the new tornado warning. It's really just going to be on the east side, I think, if you will. Go back to reflectivity here once again and go back to AKQ to show you a little bit better perspective. That's going to be a tornado warning for Richmond, Virginia on the east side. So we kind of knew that was going to happen, but I think this new tornado warning will go further to the north. It's going to end up encompassing the northern part of town, just east of East Highland Park, Highland Springs, the Montrose area, Mechanicsville. You're underneath a tornado warning now on 301 Southward. That's going to include the 295 that goes on the eastern side of Richmond, 295. Again, I'm awaiting. There it is. Mechanicsville all the way down to Richmond. You're underneath a tornado warning. And you should take cover immediately. Let's just read what they have to say here. Actually, out of that warning, the National Weather Service out of Wakeville saying the city of Richmond, underneath the tornado warning, central sections of the state, the central Chesterfield area, Enrico County, also central Hanover County. You're underneath a tornado warning. Severe thunderstorm capable of producing tornadoes into the area. They are located near Bellwood or near Chester, moving northeast at about 30 miles per hour. A tornado is indicated here. The likelihood of a tornado coming in is pretty high at this point. The inbound and the outbound. If all of this is a tornado, now this is a big bad tornado. This is not your small tropical anything, so got to keep that in mind. These winds in and out are pretty high. We got a net shear here of about 80 miles per hour showing up in this, but near Kimberly Acres, Beulah, you are in front of the situation here. Beulah, you're underneath a tornado warning here in Beulah, and then down to the south of Ampthil, you've got a tornado. That's the western side of that tornado warning there too. Ampthil Hills and Heights. And Rockets Landing. This is on the south side of Richmond, but doesn't include, the western side, Bonnier side just yet. Tuckahoe, you're not underneath the tornado warning, but the city of Richmond is, and so we are very concerned about what's happening here into the short term with all that as it moves along. They did reissue the tornado warning down to the south here as well. I think this is going to be a reissuance of the tornado warning that goes down here on the south side of town too because of this thing. And this is a new issuance here, or a reissuance, if you will. The likelihood of a tornado down there is still Probable correlation coefficient shows there's still something showing up into the atmosphere, because we do have the artifact that shows up running from the northwest down to the south and east like that. So there's a possibility of a tornado there too. But over the city of Richmond is where we're greatly concerned. This is a high population center. I mean, we're looking at about 50,000 people out of this bottom polygon, but we're looking at much more than that from the north-hand side here. We're looking at the possibility of well over 1 million people that could be affected by this down here in this general area. These are going to be with us throughout the remainder of the day today as far as the probability of tornadoes goes. Let me look at something here real quick, try to get a little bit more information about what's happening here. But again, I think there's this one polygon. We have 275,000 people who are associated with this. You combine that with a couple of others down to the south, and we're looking at near 1 million people who would be affected by the tornado warnings at the moment. So we're going to stay with you here and be looking more of what is happening there into the short term. This is coming in on the western side of the Highlands Springs area and goes on down to the south. There's your storm at the moment, and it does go further down to the south into another couple of storms. Some of these look suspect. Look at this one with a little ball on the end of it here. This is near Rivers Mill. We'll look at the radar, take a look at the velocity data. There's something down there. They're going to have to watch that very closely. This looks a little bit more like a downdraft at the moment. And we say that because there's really not a follow-up. There's an outbound marker there that looks pretty strong, but there's not an inbound really anywhere associated with that. So oftentimes that's a downdraft that is occurring. But nonetheless, in an area that kind of looks suspect, so does the radar. The reflectivity, again, what you're looking at with reflectivity, you're looking at the beam going out from Wakefield. It hits a target. The larger the target, the more dense the target, the brighter the color comes back. You go from the greens, which is going to be light precipitation, all the way back up to the oranges, which are going to be the highest precipitation. Some more stuff going on down here as you move into North Carolina, but it looks like really that itself has nothing really to support it as far as the dynamics go out of this storm. We'll go to radar a little bit further to the north, and I promise you I'll never do that again because that looked horrible. AKQ is our radar here that we're looking at. A rundown of what we have as far as tornado warnings go. The tornado warning for central Franklin County goes till 2 o'clock. So that's about to expire. Eastern time, 2 o'clock. It is 1 o'clock Central time. That's Franklin County, Virginia. They may allow that to expire, but we still have 30 more minutes on the Chesterfield, Virginia tornado warning, Chesterfield, Hanover, Enrico, and also the city of Richmond. You're underneath a tornado warning here that will last a little while longer. Those are the alerts that we currently have all across the area, which do include highly populated regions of eastern Richmond, Virginia. And now as we look at it, the latest scan coming in just moments ago still has the likelihood of a tornado just south of town. Amazing, because I do think this is probably a tornado. See if you can find something socially. If you look out social media there and see if you can find a picture, just ask them if they would be kind enough to share that with us so we can share it with the public. And we'll try to get any of that on that we can, because I got to believe somebody here in Richmond has a camera, telephone, and they're taking pictures of this, I would think. So a photograph would really help, and if you'll just add that here, I'll get on it. Thank you, Heath. We've got Heath Lawler working as our producer for today. Brett Adair is going to be joining us here shortly. He had a previous engagement. So that's what's coming into town. And hey, folks, look down to the south at what just happened. Now we got a blow up here further down to the south. And this looks more ominous than it did a few moments ago, because we have some high velocity numbers beginning to come in. We're up here into the 80-mile-per-hour range with a few of these pixels. We have an inbound and an outbound marker, so it's likely that we do have spin and a tornado is possible there. These are going to train each other up coming in on the south side of town. So not only do you have one tornado warning into the city at the moment, you've got another one that's about 15 miles down to the southwest of you, southwest of Chester, that'll be moving in. So 2 tornadoes very possible coming into Richmond, Virginia as we speak. Somewhat of it's not a tornado emergency, but it's an emergency. So if you know people there in Richmond, if it's not truly expected because it was just a slight risk for today. The tornado watch didn't go up until this morning, so you might give anybody a call who could not, possibly know about this. It's possible that you'd been asleep till 11 o'clock and you woke up and you were like, hey, why do you need to go on? That could be the case. Let's see here. I'm running out of electricity. Probably going to need that for my iPad. It got stuck in something, or the cat got it. Tornado warnings now. Brand new tornado warning. Actually, this is a brand new tornado warning issued just moments ago. The National Weather Service office just doing that. That's going to be where? Down to the south. You know that storm that we were talking about just a few moments ago that looked pretty weird and had a ball on it? Still has a ball on it. So they issued a tornado warning for it. It's a tornado warning now for the next 27 minutes that remains in effect here across the southern part of Sussex County. The National Weather Service out of Wakefield just issued this. Central Sussex County until 2:30 Eastern Time. A severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado about 14 miles to the northwest of Cortland has now been registered as a tornado warning that is in effect. That little ball down there, that looks suspicious to me. It is a tornado at this point. You can see the inbound and the outbound marker very well showing up here just outside of Rivers Mill and beyond. There's wind coming toward and away from the radar site, which is the likelihood of producing a tornado. And the correlation coefficient doesn't really say anything at this point, but this kind of looks like it's staring at this in wonderment as we all are. So 3 tornado warnings on the eastern side of the state of Virginia. Right now, 3 tornado warnings that are showing up there and are likely being produced across the region. You know what, Heath, if you're listening to me, what you could do is pop up into Ninja, and if you find a photograph that I could use, just put it in the Ninja on the screen, and then I could pull it straight into my OBS and show it to the public out there. If you could do that, Heath, if you want to help me out, that would be a great way to do so. For those of you who are watching, first, I just appreciate it. Thank you for doing so. I'm going to keep you up to date now that I'm in front of the radar. Nothing's going by me, so I'm going to keep you up to date on what is happening here with the changing weather conditions across this portion of the state, and make sure that you have all the information as to what is going on right now. I don't have a lot of time to chat, but I want to help you out. If you got a question, please ask me about it, and I'll try to get that information to you. This is on the eastern side. Somebody says, where is this? This is in Virginia. Let me back out enough to let you take a look at where we are. This is Virginia, where we do have a lot of this going on. Dan's over there in Illinois. Thank you for watching, Dan. Huntsville, Alabama, all's good. Texas, yes, we'll be talking about Texas as we move along over the next couple of days. Still looking at... is there anybody in Richmond, Virginia, that could give me some information? I'd love that, as long as it's good information. Charlotte says she's praying for everybody there in Richmond for your safety, as we always are thinking about everybody being safe. The tornado not far away from the area here, and looks like it is very likely going to be on the ground. Once again, we'll take a detailed look at what's happening. There's your tornado warning, but where is the actual tornado? Velocity day is the best way to look at that. This is right here on I-95. As you go up Commerce Road, it looks like from the south side of this, coming into the Churchill area from the south side, a little bit broader there at the moment. Didn't tighten up by any means. Is there anything aloft? Quite possibly, yes, there is, because we have this, a debris signature. This is showing us where we do have the anomaly in the play, and right there is going to be something that is different. I'll explain this really quick. The image that you see here is all about colors, and the colors that you do see are pretty uniform. All this, we'll just say, is the same color. Well, that's going to be raindrops. The radar is going to see that and say, hey, all those are the same size, shape, and direction. Same over here, raindrops. So nothing was really different there. But into the middle, we are looking at this little area right there where the colors change. Pixel to pixel, the colors change pretty rapidly, and they become something that was not there, that is an anomaly as to what's going on. So as this is different, this is still showing us that we do have something aloft that is not a raindrop. It's a different size, shape, and motion, and so it's not a raindrop, which tells us that it's going to be some form of debris. We're hoping and praying that it's not somebody's home or something like that in particular. But 2 very this one in particular is going crazy now. This is a big tornado, I believe, or at least a large spin or funnel that is occurring, because the inbound and the outbound, now we have pixel-to-pixel markings. We have gate-to-gate shear. We have a pixelization here that says that is going to be a 62 mile per hour wind, a negative 11. We have, it's probably more than that, but we have 70 knots of shear there overall that's showing up. So a tornado is very likely in this area here as well. That's south. That's in the Pocahontas State Park, a little bit south of Richmond, Virginia, but the main population center certainly is up here to the north, and the likelihood of a tornado near Rocket's Landing is higher and higher. I really don't have confirmation on it just yet. Trying to get some confirmation on it, but according to our producer, nobody's speaking about it in social media about the possibility of that being a tornado that is on the ground. Doesn't look all that likely on the at least the reflectivity data, but that's south of Richmond in the area there near Rocket's Landing, right on I-95, if you will, south of Richmond, coming in on the south side there near Oakwood. Keep that in mind as you get over to the 64, I think it is, that goes eastward. 64 would be next, crossing over 64 probably within the next 5 minutes. This is moving to the northeast at about 45 miles per hour. The velocity data again indicates there's our tornado near Rocket's Landing. If it's not a tornado, it's a spin. If you were to look over at it, it would be spinning and rotating, probably even be a funnel. This is a tornado right here, folks. This is likely a tornado, a small, tight tornado that's showing up very well. Here, I don't need beware information. I need pictures, please. I can do the meteorology. So we look down here, and we've got more and more in the way of activity down throughout this area, just south of 10, Chesterfield Courthouse. It still looks like there's plenty there that we're looking at, too. But the inbound and the outbound marker is right here. That tells us where the tornado is and where is everything that is happening here with this whole situation here. To the north of that, we still have that same thing that's going on again there in that entire area. So looking at all that, we keep it in mind that much of this will be a continuation going to the north. Down to the south, the other storm that we're looking at that does have a tornado warning associated with it, the National Weather Service says, hey, this is a tornado 2 in Sussex County. That's a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado near Cortland, moving to the north at 40 miles per hour. In the path of this storm be Homeville, right there at about 2:20, Waverly at 2:30 Eastern Time. These are all going to be on Eastern Time on the eastern side of the state. So 3 tornado warnings, 3 polygons here that are still in effect. The one to the west, they allowed that one to expire. Anything out in western West Virginia is going to be short-term, short-lived. There are not enough dynamics to really help the situation out there at all. It's everything that we see right here from Mechanicsville down into the Richmond area, and all the way down to the courthouse is what we are looking at. These are all going to be highly volatile situations here. Even this little thing that's moving across 85 here has a near Dinwiddie is again kind of acting a little bit weird. So we'll look at that. That's near Butterworth. And the Confederate Woods area there just south of Five Forks. Keep that in mind too. If you're traveling in this portion of the eastern sections of the Carolinas, you definitely want to be paying attention to what is going on there. Base velocity data, again, huge inbound and outbound to this. This would concern me greatly if I lived near the Chesterfield Courthouse, because the second round, the second area that likely or possibly has a tornado associated with it is here. And this one looks just as ominous, if not more ominous, than the one before. Is there a drop? A little bit. By drop, is there debris? A little shows up here, but it's very likely that there's going to be debris aloft here in this area, right about here. Keep that in mind. If you're traveling anywhere in that direction, or if you're in the Deerfield Estates area, Pocahontas State Park, they're just off to the south. There's a debris signature now in town. This is very near US 60 coming in on the eastern side. A debris signature is in town telling us that there is something likely that is aloft. So got to beware of what is happening, because this area right here does look like there is something going on here at the moment. We're going to be continuing to watch what's happening there too. Off to the north, we got more in the way of what's happening there too. And here's what's happening down to the south, where we have more of that as well. 2 storms there. The second one, third one down to the south here of AKQ. I don't see anything there that looks like we have debris of any kind that is sitting there moving across the area. But nonetheless, the reflectivity looks ugly. And it does look like there's some kind of a debris ball trying to separate itself from everything. Let me see if I can get this to match up at all. There's the correlation coefficient. No, but the reflectivity and also the velocity data indicating there's some spin, there's some rotation ongoing there across that area as well. So watching out for all of that. National Weather Service office out of Wakefield is busy this afternoon. They got quite a few tornado warnings. Got quite a bit going on here as well. Give me 1 second to seek out a little bit of info here, and I'll get right back to you. All right, here we go. There's a roundup again of where we are and what we've got. Right now, we'll go back to the reflectivity and show you. We have 3 concurrent tornado warnings that are in effect. They are down to the south here, south of AKQ Wakefield. We're looking at the one tornado there south of Sussex. That's going to be one of those that is moving to the northwest. We also have the few others that are there. This Highway 40, where we have the possibility of a tornado. A couple of spins that are occurring there as well that are showing up across the region. But right now, it's the Highway 40 storm that we're looking at going northward and northeastward toward Waverly. That's over there in Sussex County. To the north, though, in the Richmond, Virginia area, in the downtown area of Richmond, Virginia. I'd be concerned if I'm there because I have indication that there are likely 2 tornadoes almost within the county now. The one area that we have there is in Richmond that we're looking at. That's going to be in Richmond, the eastern side of town in Richmond, where we have a lot of that still going on. And it looks like a lot of that will be a continuation. Hold on for just one moment. Once again, the tornado warning there, they just reissued that one down to the south. I want to make sure that I keep you up to date specifically of what is happening here. But 2 tornadoes now, very serious situation in Richmond, Virginia. The National Weather Service office is telling us that we do have a tornado possibly on the east side of town at the moment. That's moving northeastward, coming across I-44 in the next few moments, 64 in the next few moments. I apologize, these are small signs here, but 64 in the next few moments, coming out of Oakwood, crossing over the interstate. A likely tornado is there. At least we know we have some really strong rotation that's occurring there. The National Weather Service office tells us that that might be a tornado that'll be coming on the 295 here shortly. South of there, we're having another one follow up. That's Deerfield Estates coming northward along and through 288. That's State Road 288 there into the area where just north of Pocahontas State Park. That is crossing over the roadway at the moment. That looks like it could be, that's the World War II Veterans Memorial Highway, by the way. That looks like it could be a larger situation, a larger tornado occurring there. And basically what we're looking at is most of that's going to be continuation of what is going on there into the short term. And so that's pretty much where we are at the moment. Let me see. Let me check on a few more things. Right now, that is the tornado warning that runs for the next few moments there in that part of the county. There are 2 areas coming in from the south, and pretty much what we're looking at. Give me 1 second. I got some information to check out. Apologies there. Once again, that's where we are currently with what's happening. Very serious situation now in Richmond, Virginia, on the east side of town. It's Richmond now. On the south side of town, we have a continuation of what's coming in. 73 degrees now. Just that's a dew point condition now, just south of Richmond, Virginia. 73 is what we're watching. These are going to be serious storms moving in from the south, making their way onto the east and doing so at a decent little pace here overall. Two storms there in that one polygon. The National Weather Service Office has a tornado warning here for the next 13 minutes. That's going to be in effect across the central part of Hanover County there, the city of Richmond. You are included. East Highland Park, Virginia Commonwealth University, moving northeast 25 miles per hour. National Weather Service is watching this, talking about this all over as we continue to do so. Further down to the south, we have another continuation of a tornado warning here. This is the one that we're looking at coming out of Deerfield Estates. A likely tornado there near Beulah, the Kimberly Acres area, Cedar Farms, or right in that general area where it looks like most of this would be occurring over the next little while here. Moving north at about 40 miles per hour, which puts everything within the city limits here very shortly, if it's not already. But coming in around the perimeter, it looks like on the south side, the likelihood of a tornado is here, and much more that's going on. The correlation coefficient down to the south looks like Kimberly Acres and Beulah coming across 73. But that's the southern part of the polygon, Richmond, Virginia to the north here, and then the other polygon. These polygons are crazy. They're all over the place at the moment, and so it gets a little bit hairy as to what's happening. And not to forget, Sussex County, you're still underneath the tornado warning down to the south. Again, I have nothing on the correlation coefficient. The inbound and the outbound is much broader at the moment, which leads me to believe there's less going on. There is a situation here that shows us that we don't have gate-to-gate shear. It's a little bit broader of a span, a rotation at the moment, and not a concentrated area. Nonetheless, the National Weather Service does continue that tornado warning. The reflectivity looked kind of weird and awesome there at the same time. We had a little dry slot that was coming on the south side there, and a little ball echo that kind of showed up there from time to time as well. It looked like it could be some debris just south of Waverly. That is a tornado warning for Sussex County. How long does that last? Sussex County, we still have a little bit longer in that. It goes until 2:30, so we still have 10 more minutes on that tornado warning there in Sussex County, 13 miles to the southwest of Waverly, and moving northward in that general direction there, too. Down to the south here, we have other storms, 3 polygons now that are in effect. It looks kind of wild and wicked down here into Richmond, Virginia for this evening. Right now at 2:19 Eastern Time. We've got the 3 polygons. It's a mess. The best way to show you this is probably with velocity data, because you can, again, sort of see what I see, which is you don't have to be a meteorologist to look at this and go, oh, my gosh, here's what's happening into the northeastern part of the city of Richmond. We got a spin, a rotation that's occurring there that looks like the possibility of a tornado there. That's going to be right to the north of 64. Near Lynn Grove, just in between there, basically, and down to the south, there's an inbound and an outbound marker with a possible tornado. It looks like in this area. Now, when I draw this circle and I do this little doodle right here, I'm looking at an image that is already, it was issued at 2:18. It's 2 minutes old already. With the storm moving 40 miles per hour, 2 minutes is about 3 more miles this thing has moved by the time I drew that circle. So you got to go ahead and have some lead time here and know that that thing's probably already over here on the other side of the bypass, if you will, coming in on the north side of, already on the north side of Chestnut Hill, but 360, US 360 there, and it's only a mile or two away from coming into 295, the wraparound on the north side of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia here. The reflectivity data, again, kind of the same, as long as they sort of match up fairly well structurally. That's what we're looking at pretty much there into that area. There's a lot of lightning there, too, that's showing up into Mechanicsville, Strawhorn, excuse me, Seahorn. Whew, I'm seeing things. And Robin Ridge. That's pretty much what we're looking at there. And the Hanover Farms, that region there is what we're talking about as well. The Chesterfield Courthouse still have that storm that's very near, maybe about 5 miles to the north of the Chesterfield Courthouse now. We did have a storm that was passing over the area there, I-85 from west to east. The Bellwood Manor region there in Westover, Richmond, is what we're looking at. But 2 particularly dangerous sort of situations there that are now taking place. And brand new tornado warning again. This is a new tornado warning that is probably just being reissued until 2:45. That's the tornado warning that includes the Mechanicsville area. So they did issue this, pushed it just a little bit further to the north because it was about to get out of the polygon here. That is a mess. That is the likelihood of a tornado there. Not a strong inbound marker at this point, but the outbound's pretty strong here. We have some high winds right about there at 60 miles per hour. On Creighton Road, coming across Creighton Road, minutes away from Bruce Estates, the Cold Harbor Road area there, or 295 coming in from the western side. So look out for that now. This is not a wannabe kind of storm. This is I'm a dude and I'm a man. I'm coming on in here quickly from the south, moving north here. Over to Cedar Farms is where our secondary storm is down to the south along 637. That is going to be right along County 10, it looks like, coming northward into Cedar Farms, the South Garden, the Muse area there. The secondary storm that is coming in for that city of Richmond situation. Large population there. Down to the south, it's still Sussex. They still keep this warning for 7 more minutes, although it doesn't look like much. Doesn't look like they're going to... they're really concerned about this. This is a broad now. This is just an outflow that's occurring right there. A little outflow down here as well. So nothing is spinning there at this particular moment. Does it look like? A quick look around the rest of the area here. Nothing again. REX looks kind of quiet at this point. I still have dew points pretty high down here to the south. Here's an inbound and an outbound that's a little worrisome. It looks like this is going to be just north of Powellsville on US 13 coming in from the south side. Winton is off to the north, but there's obviously some spinning rotation associated with this right about there. The reflectivity is going to match up with that. They both have been matching up very well, and then a second one down here that we're looking at as well near Edenton that was coming in on the western side of Albemarle and working its way northward there too. A lot happening, folks, on the eastern side, and a slight risk. There's a lot happening here for this general area. There is a tornado watch that is in effect, and much of that is going to be a continuation of what's happening across that area, and we'll keep you up to date on any changes that do occur. These dew point conditions, if I just drew a line where everything is, you can see the 70s. I'll draw an isotherm of the 70-degree temperatures, and they're pretty far inland here at this point. Everything over in this direction is 70-degree dew points plus, 70-degree dew points plus, and that's juicy. That's juicy fruit area over there to the eastern side of everything. So what we got is right here. There's that little spin, that little hook. Echo that's trying to show up near Newville again. I don't know. Let's take a look at it. Wrong radar, AKQ. Yeah, that might be a sort of tornado genesis area, if you will, just outside of Newville. So we'll be looking at that. That's coming northward on the eastern side of the city, though, and then check out all the tornado warnings that we have for the city of Richmond here currently. Now, the ones that are up to date, the ones we're really, really concerned about are these two spots in particular because these are very highly populated areas. South of Mechanicsville, we've got the Cold Harbor Farms area there, 295, and coming out of Mechanicsville, the Turnpike on 360. That's US 360, where the intersection is. I don't know if you're new around there, but that's where the spin is. Not highly, it's kind of broad. If I'm honest here, it's a little bit broad. There's definitely some high wind there, but it's not a tightly packed, it's not pixel to pixel. It's, for this to be a tornado, it had to be a huge tornado, and it's not pixel to pixel right in here. We've got high winds here. These are the outbound winds going away from the radar site, which indicate they're in the 60-mile-per-hour range, something like that at highest. There's a 71-mile-per-hour pixel there right on the 295 alternate road that goes around the city there, the bypass, if you will, 295. So if you're driving a high-profile vehicle, 70 miles per hour would not be good if you're coming across there in a semi or a large SUV. And the other area of spin rotation that's still out there that we are watching is the Cedar Farms, Highway 10, Dorchester, back over to Cherry Gardens, off to the north. Meadowbrook Country Farm, Country Club, is right there too that we are looking at as it all heads a little bit further on to the north. There's a little bit of spin up here too from time to time that's showing up near Glen Allen, but I don't see that being likely as a big deal there overall into the short term. Once again, the watch that's in effect, this is in a tornado watch area. There are going to be more going through the day today, more possibilities for tornadoes to occur within this watch box. Get rid of a little bit of this clutter here for you overall. And no, that's not what I wanted to do either. METARs. Turn that off, and close this out. So there's your box. This is the tornado watch box area. Everything that is in yellow. You can see they're already canceling some of these down to the south here into the Raleigh area. But there's still tornado watches that go just across the border into Greensboro, North Carolina, on the eastern side of the Appalachians here from Lynchburg, Virginia, up to Charlottesville. And they do include everything else all the way over to the coast into Virginia Beach at this moment, and as far to the north as D.C. So with all that in mind, Fredericksburg, we got a couple of thunderstorms coming in on the south side of I-95 there. And what is happening into Richmond, Virginia now from Mechanicsville, the Old Church area, and Richmond South, which is just coming across the interstate there. It's US 1 that we're really watching predominantly the flow here coming in on US 1 from the southern side of what is going on. All this, as you can see into the short term, is a really big deal. Tornado warning for the next 17 minutes. It's in effect from the National Weather Service out of Wakefield, Virginia. Enrico and Hanover County, King William County is underneath a tornado warning there on the south-hand side of things. It's pretty much the same as Chesterfield, Enrico, and also Richmond County. You're underneath a tornado warning there, too, from what is coming up from the south. The rest of the area is underneath a tornado watch in yellow. That's going to run through the afternoon today up until 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Few tornadoes likely. Damaging wind gusts are also possible. Right at the 70-mile-per-hour mark into the mid-afternoon, the Nicole situation, that old tropical storm coming up from the south, accelerating into the western Carolinas through the day today. Some of the outer convective bands there are becoming problematic. There's a line from 35 miles to the south-southwest of Florence, South Carolina. All points to the north really are underneath this destabilizing atmosphere that's going to take place. And with any break into the cloud cover, that only is going to be exacerbated through the afternoon and cause more instability, more ability for the air to rise rapidly. The cooler it is aloft, and the more that you terrestrial heat the ground, the more the air is going to rise pretty rapidly. It's all very emblematic and symptomatic, I guess, if you will, of your home. If you have a two-story home, which one is going to be the warmest? Well, the top room, because air that is warm weighs less. Can you believe it? You can weigh it. It's much less dense than cool air. Cool air is more dense, so it's going to lie closer down to the ground, and the cooler air as such is a stabilizing factor unless it is aloft. So when it's aloft, that means that the air down at the surface, the cooler it is aloft, the air down at the surface can rise more rapidly, like a hot air balloon. If you're a balloonist, boy, I really cut my viewership way down there when I said if you're a balloonist. I don't think there's a lot of you that are balloonists. And maybe I just made a mistake and offended the lot of the people who are watching me. Maybe balloonists are the only people who actually watch me here on YouTube. But if I did, I apologize. Anyway, that's what's happening here with everything that is going on. And it looks like it's pretty much what it is. That's where we are at the moment with everything else. We'll keep you looking at least this for the moment here. I'm sorry, I'm trying to read and write at the same time. But right now, the newest polygon makes a little bit more sense, but I don't know how to get rid of the others. So I'm going to get rid of this tornado watch feature here if we can. There's a tornado watch in effect there across the eastern side of town. That tornado watch is definitely going to supersede anything else when it comes to the alerts. But I'll get rid of all this into the short term. We'll only go with tornado warnings here at the moment, which show up just to the north of the area of Richmond, Virginia, and south. This is almost the same path, folks. This is almost the same path coming in from the south side as the one that went through just a little bit earlier. This is going to be crossing over the one. It just did so. My guess is that by now it is probably a little bit further to the north up here on I-95 into Richmond, Virginia. So we'll be taking a look at that. There's some brand new information coming in from the National Weather Service now. We'll take a look at that momentarily, but there is reason to believe that we're still in a region here, if you will, that is concerning for the remainder of the day today, and could actually be somewhat volatile now throughout the rest of eastern Virginia in a new mesoscale discussion that I will show you here momentarily. This is all still moving northward and eastward, doing so at a pretty rapid clip here overall, and we'll keep that into mind as we do move along. Some of the situation here as we see it is still providing often on scattered thunderstorms throughout the entire area now as we look at it. And down to the south, we have a continuation of this storm south of Petersburg. I don't think we have anything there that looks ominous at this point. There's a couple of thunderstorms. That's got that little feature in it, though, that we're looking at. And this is in a previously tornado-warned situation. So is kind of is what it is. And that is a tornado. That's a new warning, by the way. So that goes for 30 more minutes from the National Weather Service. That's going to be Prince George County, northwestern Sussex County, and Surrey counties. You're still underneath this tornado warning. It's moving to the north at about 30 miles per hour. A possible tornado. That from the National Weather Service out of Wakefield is what we are looking at. Everything down to the south here into Richmond and beyond. That has 12 more minutes on that. It's a radar-indicated tornado located over Richmond, moving to the northeast at about 30 miles per hour. North of there now, they did just reissue this as a brand new polygon, which says northeastern Henrico County, Hanover County, King William County, and east central Virginia. You're underneath the tornado warning because of this doozy, folks. That is a indicated tornado right about this area north of Mechanicsville. Even if it's not a tornado that's on the ground, there's so much potential built into this, just this one little thing here that we're looking at. This one small image, the potential is here because we have such strong inbound and outbound associated with it at this point. Then down now into the city of Richmond. This is in downtown Richmond, Virginia. Oregon Hill, the Woodland Heights area, coming in on 64 from the south side of Richmond, Virginia. That is a tornado, likely, at least if you look up in Richmond, that ought to be, at the very least, a funnel coming over, but it's quite possibly even going to be a tornado that soon could be touching the ground. I have some indication of some debris aloft. It doesn't look like a huge indication. I keep my hopes alive there with that when it comes to that. But at this moment, that's kind of what we're looking at. And then back over in this area, we still have more ongoing at the moment. But basically, it's right here from Prince George in between there and Wakefield. That's the secondary tornado warning that we have. And I don't think we have any more showing up here just at the moment. Right now, our highest attention is probably going to be paid to Richmond, Virginia. My goodness, that's in a hugely populated area. The population here really high is going to keep us closely watching what's happening throughout this entire region because there's going to be more or less through the day today continuation of more storms. Even some of them that are down to the south could be problematic going into the next little while. But right now, it's a tornado warning that continues into Hanover County, Henrico County, King William County. You're underneath a tornado warning there. 280,000 people are being affected by this one right here. This one box has 280,000 people when what's occurring there. And that's also causing problems there across the area and will be a problem. It's there we go. And so, for the moment, that's where we are presently. Richmond back down to the south here. We have some more from Mechanicsville all the way up to Epworth and into that area just west of Turpin, too. If you have any more information, let me chat with you viewers here on YouTube to see what you got, because I know some of you were in and around the Richmond area there not that long ago. Joseph, thank you for that information, but I'm not going to pass that along. Let's see. What is that balloon made up of? Yeah, I know. I blew that with a balloon. Richmond dodged a bullet. Not just yet. There are a couple more storms that are around the area there, so we're going to be watching out for that. There's let's see, more people living in Richmond there. I don't see a whole lot in the way of any debris showing up. That would be good. That'd be great information there if we could keep that going. We're also watching, yes, we're watching back into Texas. We'll have some information for you there as to what is happening. Brand new tornado warning again. I think it's going to be a continuation of the others. They're trying to make some sense out of these boxes that are here, but they did just reissue a tornado warning down to the south. This is going to be a new tornado warning from the National Weather Service that goes until 3 p.m. now. So this is going to be down to the south in Sussex County, Surrey County, Prince George County, and also southern Charles City County in east central Virginia. Dangerous storm located near Cabin Point at 250, the Garysville area, Burroughsville. Also underneath what is possibly going to be a new developing tornado into this area. That's what we were looking at a few moments ago, and how things had changed just a little bit in size and shape and structure. Burroughsville, you're in the path of that storm. This is the polygon that does go northward. 2 areas and now 3 that we're looking at with some semblance of rotation that's occurring. This one right in here in this area that is just to the west of Old Church. That is a broad area where we have a possible tornado. Right there again, just north of the city of Richmond. We had spin that was moving through there. I have no indication whatsoever that any kind of a tornado occurred there, but I don't have anybody who had any information on the ground. But pretty much that is what is happening there across all of that area throughout the central sections of the region. You're welcome, Joseph. Now, as we look a little bit further, because I kind of do too. If you look a little bit further now into the picture, what we do have is another spin, another little rotation that's occurring actually here, just to the west at 295. That's going to be out near the airport. Pocahontas Parkway, just to the north. It's not, really tightly packed at the moment here. This is going to be a broad circulation that is occurring, but it is somewhat of an anomaly if you're looking at the radar imagery here at the moment. It does look a little bit different than everything else, and it looks like it's within the belief of cellular activity here for the afternoon, and each one of these that are rotating actually is going to be that overall deal. Right there, and right there are big spins that are occurring, and those 3 will be pretty likely for the remainder of this afternoon into the day today. Down to the south here, our other tornado warning is going to be right in this area here. That is the likely tornado that is occurring there. I don't see anything that looks like it would be a drop in the correlation coefficient or any kind of a debris signature whatsoever. That is the great news that I can share with you here at the moment. I don't have that really from anything. There's the little anomaly that goes north over to the Hanover Courthouse that we're looking at. It tells me something is there, but not enough to really be making any kind of a fuss there into the general area. Now, I want to take a look here if we can. Just want to go to some of the info here, the severe weather and the mesoscale, because a brand new mesoscale just came out, and let's just read what they've got to say. That's this circle that goes all the way up to D.C. and as far south as Richmond, Virginia. They are saying now that the threat for a tornado watch, severe threat for tornado watch 569 does continue. Yeah. The tornado threat continues across the tornado watch. Local extension in time-space is warranted. A local extension. All right. A local extension in time-space is warranted across parts of eastern Virginia into southern Maryland. Let's discuss. Latest radar out of AKQ shows a broken band of supercells tracking north-northeastward from far northeastern North Carolina. Back surface winds beneath strong, deep southerly flow per regional blah, 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 blah. Over the next few hours, this favorable air mass will continue expanding northward across eastern Virginia into southern Maryland, with large looping low-level hodographs will support supercell tornado risk until around 22 or 23Z, 3, 4, 5 o'clock. Therefore, a local spatial temporal extension of the watch is warranted for these areas. Four tornado warnings right now. We got 4 polygons, brand new one. Back down to the south here, this brand new tornado warning issued just moments ago. This is a new tornado warning down into North Carolina. The National Weather Service out of Wakeville, Virginia, just issued this tornado warning for Hertford County in northeastern North Carolina, northwestern Gates County, southwestern city of Suffolk, and southwestern Virginia. You're underneath a tornado warning now with a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado near Coalfield It's about 7 miles to the southwest of Gatesville. It's moving northeast at 35 miles per hour. Where would it be moving? Well, into Gatesville at around 2:45. Gates at about 2:55. These are all Eastern times. In Whaleyville, just after 3 p.m., a possible tornado would be occurring there across that area as well. So there's plenty of it down here. That is occurring all across the eastern sections of the sound, and from D.C. southward now. We're looking at the area in blue, indicating where we have a high probability of more tornadoes to occur, the continuation of tornado warnings down in this area here. As far to the west as over into here, and we can and at times do have them even further to the west. We've had them into the western side of North Carolina off and on through the day today. That could be a continuation as we go into the rest of this afternoon, where we have a few more showing up over into that area. Not to mention that we still have the likelihood, the possibility as we go into the afternoon of some activity into southern Texas. I just looked over there. We don't have any severe thunderstorm warnings, although it is probably time to add severe thunderstorms into our criteria here, and we'll do that. The alert settings that I have right here at the moment, we're not including severe thunderstorm warnings, but they'll start back there into Texas, and we'll use that to keep you up to date on what's happening. There is a severe thunderstorm watch over there, so I'll include that as well. I'm just trying to keep things from getting too cluttered here into each of these areas. Right now, there does remain a warning, let's see, it's going to be a tornado warning, but that's going to be a little further to the north. They just reissued that tornado warning for Hanover, for King and Queen County, King William County, and also Caroline County. Now you're underneath a tornado warning from that as well. We're going to Richmond City here and take a look at this, because there's the new continuation, the new tornado warning that goes a little bit further to the north for the next 32 minutes. Northwestern King and Queen County, South Central Caroline County, Hanover County, King William County. You're underneath the tornado warning that goes until 3:15, located over Studley or near Mechanicsville, moving northeast at 25 miles per hour. Down to the south here, we have some more information for you, a couple of more warnings. But yes, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 polygons, and then a fifth tornado warning that goes down to the south here along US 13, coming out of Suffolk between there and Oski. It looks like at this point that's going to be the southernmost tornado warning that we have there. Why are they happening? Well, a couple of reasons why they're happening. That old interaction with Nicole that was down there, the old tropical storm hurricane, I guess. Hurricane turned tropical storm, turned low pressure center down to the south is the reasoning for that. But as you look at it at this point, as everything moves northward across the region, we're still looking at the likelihood of a clash going on here. We got 2 points into the 70s. The dew point was 70-degree readings. The dew point is clashing with a lot of moisture that's already there in place, and then instability. A few breaks into the cloud cover from time to time during the day today are indicating to us where we have instability being created, and there is a shear factor that is here, along with the fact that we do have that low pressure down to the south. We have winds coming in from the south into this thing, but aloft they're out of a different direction. They're kind of changing over a little bit more and causing some spin to occur. I say the winds down at the surface, they're more out of the south, and let's just look at the MEDARs. They're going to be a little bit further to the east than south. I said that before I really thought about this three-dimensionally, but a lot of them are out of the south at the moment until you get to this point, and you can see these arrows, these green arrows, are coming in a little bit more out of the south. I'm sorry, I was just looking at that myself. The green areas here indicating where it's a little bit more out of the south and east. So at the surface level, we've got more of a southeasterly breeze coming up. But then as we go aloft, it's more out of the north. So we're already creating spin there. And that shows up in each one of the reflectivity images, because you get a veering. As you go up in height, the top of these thunderstorms are being blown off. And you can just see the direction everything is moving is quite clear. This is the upper level direction, and that's the steering current that's pushing everything along off to the northeast. Down to the south here, we have a continuation with thunderstorms that are really starting to build here just to the south of Garysville, and it looks like north and west of Gwaltney Corner. That's the possibility of a tornado there. Brand new scan just came in. Doesn't look healthy at this point. Love it. And then some of these areas here that we're still looking at, the possibility of spinning in rotation looks a little weaker in all these locations. In fact, weak enough to where they did, in fact, let the tornado warning go for the city of Richmond down there further to the south. They did not continue that, so the only tornado warning that we have at the moment that is being monitored is this one that covers all of those counties off to the north, northwestern King, Queens, south central Caroline, Hanover, King William County. You're underneath that tornado warning, which looks pretty weak at this point. I love being able to say that as I look at it, it's a little weakened situation there at the moment. We had a burst. Maybe we had enough cloud cover to where that was not going to be a huge deal any longer. I say that. Why don't we just look at the cloud cover, because we haven't done that while we're in a tiny little bit of a lull here. Let's look at the cloud cover across the area. The mesoscale shows you, just to get rid of some of this clutter again, I'm going to get rid of the mesoscale. But here's what the satellite imagery does look like. If I put this into motion a little bit here, I can show you the low center itself is still back down to the southwest. The flow is coming in, though, from the south. Let me put about 75 frames into this. Each one of these are only minute. I mean, you get almost a movie sort of a situation here, because the updates come in by the minute. And you can just see the break in the cloud cover, which shows us why this is happening. These little dark areas, those are the breaks, the cloud breaks, where you get a little bit of sunshine, and then boom, you got a thunderstorm coming in to your south. It's coming right at you here. But the flow's easy to see from the satellite imagery. And so quite basically what you're looking at here is partial sunshine and then thunderstorms that pop up just on occasion. Let me see if I can find a little bit more info here with the clean IR. We'll once again show you where we have the, don't do that. Sorry, that was my mistake. But you can see where we have each of these little blow-ups along the satellite imagery that's giving us an indication. This is the IR, the infrared level, that gives us some indication of what's going on. We'll look at the water vapor imagery. Again, dry slot trying to move in pretty rapidly over here into central Virginia, so that's not going to allow anything to happen really throughout this neck of the woods because of just the very nature of things. There's the dry slot. All your moisture seems to be in this corridor over here, and the availability of moisture for the occasional tornado to occur certainly will remain in that area. We don't see any tornado warnings over here any longer to the west. Anything I think that was actually out there a little earlier was going to be associated with this, which is the center of our old hurricane, which is now down to the south. Let me see if I can get a little bit better. Yeah, let's do that. How about we just do that right there? And so we'll put this into motion to show you. Let me look at the geocolor. Doing this on the fly, I apologize. And I put this into motion. Pretty easy to see where at least the rotation still remains here. Not too far away from North Georgia into the Gainesville area. Everything kind of spinning throughout this region. So if I'm drawing a low pressure center in here, I'm probably drawing it a little bit further over in here, like right, it's a broad area right about there. So we got your cloud cover here that goes through the spine of the Great Smoky Mountains. We got breaks showing up into the cloud cover across this area right in here. So this is your dry region where if you get some sunshine, you may end up getting a thunderstorm or two, but everything else wraps in and around. You can see that because we still have wraparound moisture coming in here in earnest across Alabama. And here's your low pressure center, if you will. Clear air beginning to dry up, and sunshine coming out here for the last part of the day into western Tennessee, it looks like. So that should be a much more prosperous situation there, ongoing and overall. But our tornado warnings up and down the line here still exist. 3 of them that goes down into North Carolina all the way up to Richmond, Virginia. The other area of concern for us through the day today is down to the south, where we have a severe thunderstorm watch box. This is a thunderstorm watch for central Texas. It's in effect until 6 o'clock tonight from this moment on. And the main primary thing here is hail that could reach 3 inches in size. An isolated damaging wind gust of 70 miles per hour could be taking place. What does it take to make hail that big, 2.5 inches? It takes some super cold air aloft. There's going to be plenty of that as we do move along. Now, the IR would show us where we have any new development, and I'll put this into motion, and you can see a little bit of singularity, if you will, happening back here into Texas. There's a few of these cells that are beginning to show up in the IR. This one near Kerrville, the Fredericksburg area, in Austin. So already seeing a few indications of some thunderstorms beginning to build here in and around Kerrville. and the rest of the area, and we'll be looking at the radar there very, very shortly. But always taking precedence is going to be a tornado warning, and we have several of them still showing up here in the eastern side of the U.S. These are roughly going to be from just about the eastern side of North Carolina, now working their way quite possibly into Maryland later on into this afternoon, according to the National Weather Service office. So definitely want to be looking at everything that is happening there across that one portion of eastern North Carolina, South Carolina, and the rest of the area there too, with, again, our exiting storm coming in out of the Gulf of Mexico. Some of these little feeder bands are still out over the open water. I haven't looked to see if there's anything coming onshore, but these two quite possibly, and sometimes can lead to strong thunderstorms coming onshore. Anytime there's a feeder band that is out over the open water, you get concerned about it. So we'll be looking at the radar there in just a few moments. Actually, I want to shut my mouth and just do it here. We'll look at the radar out over the open Gulf of Mexico here if we can. Couple of showers and storms, nothing really kicking out there, but we do have a band going over central Florida at the moment, coming into Orlando. Nothing is severe, going northward over to Jacksonville, all the way up into Savannah. Some of the showers that are occurring here along the I-95 corridor up into Florence. South Carolina got a few thunderstorms there as well. Back to the west, into the heart of the low-pressure center itself, which is still, as I said, it's kicking off back to the west here. You can see it very well in satellite imagery, but it's right about here if you look at it on the map. And the elongated area of it now, which is a little bit more subtropical than anything else, including up in here. But this is a warm front, cold front down to the south, and a warm front that is well out on the eastern side of this. We do get the warm frontal boundary here showing up in sort of massive warm front that's been coming in here for the last 24 hours, right through here where the dew points have made it up into the 70s. The three tornado warnings we still have intact that are strongly indicated here are going to be down to the south. We have one or two. I want to go actually to the local radar. AKQ is our radar of choice for the moment here. AKQ tells us that we have cells, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cells. A couple of them showing up there from time to time further back down to the west. But now the new tornado warning, it's not new. It's a continuation of the old one. Still has 7 more minutes on it near Gatesville. Roduco. Sorry if I'm not pronouncing that right. I don't think I've ever said that one before. But this is coming into Gates at around 2:55 and Whaleyville at 3:10, all Eastern times now that we're looking at here over on the East Coast. It's going to be right along US 13. It'll be near Suffolk here in about 35 minutes. If we're moving to the north at 45, which I think is what they're saying. I can put a little history here on this to show you that the storm track, if we start there, we go up to Suffolk here. We put in 45 miles per hour to calculate that in our graphic. And more or less what we're looking at are estimated times of arrival. Savage's Crossroads at about 2 p.m. Gates at 2:02. Into the Drum Hill region at 2:07. Skeetertown at 2:22. And Willowbrook at 2:29. Looking for estimated times of arrival for all of these storms. If you go out for a 30-minute time period in the Suffolk area, still looking at a population center of about 92,000, almost 100,000 people within that polygon there that I drew just a few seconds ago. Then down to the south, we have a deeper area of moisture here along County Road 37 in Sign Pine into the Old Chapel Crossroads region. That's a fairly large thunderstorm. No sign of a tornado embedded within that at all at this point. It's really all about this. It's all about these thunderstorms that are over here. They did reissue the tornado warning for the next 20 minutes here near Mechanicsville with a possible tornado into King William County and Hanover County. That is going to go until 3:15 Eastern Standard Time. Now 3:15. That brings us into the Hanover Courthouse area there within the next 14 minutes. Tuck Fork. Have to be very slow and careful with the tuck. Tuck Fork is where there is a tornado warning. It's south of Duane Fork and north of Corinth Fork. And I'm just going to, now my curiosity is just at a maximum. I'm going to have to find out why all the forks. And I'm really not going to be able to talk about it anymore because I just realized that I shouldn't be. So That's where we are, just outside of the Fork areas. Here we go. Thank you, MJ. Um, appreciate you too, Ariana. Yeah, it's what the fork today. There's like a lot. Oh, what you know, lots of them. They happen to be north of Studley. Anyway, down to the south here, we have some more stuff going on. This is the other tornado warning. And hey, look at this little hook echo that's occurring here near Burrowsville, between there and Garysville, on just like Highway 10 coming in, moving over to Weyanoka. I blew that. I'm not going to say it again. Weyanoke. I think it's Weyanoke. South Charles City. That's going to be a little hook echo right there, and it matches up. There's an inbound and an outbound marker with that. So we'll be looking out for that as we move along. Close to Burrowsville. I can say that Garysville is right in that area there too, but there is some indication of inbound and outbound relativity right there in the velocity data. It shows up with a hook echo there on the radar imagery, so we'll follow that closely. These aren't going to be big honking tornadoes that are on the ground, F5 sort of things. Those are going to be the very swift kind that take place. Back up here into the Fork area, you can see from Studley, back into the Mango Hick area of Highway 30 in Epworth, just outside of Turpin. Hey, if you live near or know somebody who lives near a fork, you should let them know immediately here into these fork areas just east of I-95. And I mean this seriously. If you know somebody who lives in because there's a ton of forks down in here that are small communities. Nelson's Bridge. This is Buckeye down in here into the Guilds Acres area. Pamunkey Estates, it looks like Enfield, the Etna Mills, Corinth Fork area, Pollard's Corner. These are all small communities there. The Tuck Fork region there. Duane Fork is off to the north, which is my middle name. So I'm not certainly not making fun. And as I say that, the National Weather Service went, nope, and just jerked that tornado warning out from under me there. So there's no longer a tornado warning in effect there, which is good news. I feel good about that. But there's a continuation of this one down to the south. It looks like it might have two cells involved, but one real circulation that's occurring, and it's not a strong circulation at all. There's an inbound and an outbound, but they're net shear, they're only 25, 30 miles per hour. There's not a whole lot going on there for the moment anyway across that region. So we're kind of looking at what is happening there into the short term, as this might be a short-term tornado warning. The other thing that we do know is that, did they just reissue that? Gates, North Carolina, we have tornado warning for Gates. That's down here to the south, so that's a continuation of this thing, which is still showing up as decent inbound and outbound. So they did go ahead and reissue this. It's tornado warning in effect for Gates population of about 7,500 people. It says 1 minute, but I can tell you they just reissued that, and that is a reissuance for southwestern Suffolk County, northwestern Gates County. Severe thunderstorm that's capable of producing a tornado coming into the Gates area, 255. It's past that. So this is a little bit old. How old is this? It's 249, so this is the old one. They haven't reissued this. We're waiting. My information says that is a new tornado warning, and it's because of this. That is likely a tornado on the other side of the border. That's the Virginia line right here. This is North Carolina. This is Virginia. So, tornado warning, I believe. Boom, thank you. There's the tornado warning now officially coming across the border, and they are saying, that's for 30 more minutes, they are saying that this is coming into Whaleyville at about 3:10, the Holland area at about 3:20. These are estimated times of arrival in the eastern time zone. Located over Gates, 8 miles to the north of Gatesville. It's moving north at about 30 miles per hour, and so central Gates County, southwestern city of Suffolk is in southeastern Virginia underneath this tornado warning. If you hear any giddiness at all in the sound of my voice, it is that we've gotten rid of a couple of tornado warnings. We still have some semblance of spin right about there. That's south of Charles City. maybe right about there. Have a little bit more that's ongoing, but nothing that's really ominous here. Then off to the north, we have the two areas that we've been following that have been tornado warned through the day today that are much, much broader at the moment, there and there. No tornado warnings associated with these at the moment, but, can't really count those out. There is a new expectation, severe weather. Let me see if it filled in. There should be a brand new one here. Let me read this and make sure. Again, I'm getting a little bit of my information earlier than it's displaying. That's still 1016, so that's not the new one. There's about to be a new day one that'll be placed here that I think will go a little bit further to the north, perhaps. It might get into that area that is a little further to the north, quite possibly. Tornado warning right there. I'll come back to that in just a few moments, but my information tells me that there is a new risk area here that'll be coming out here very shortly, which I think really only is going to take things just a little bit further on to the north. Let's go to the velocity data. This is what you're normally used to when you look at the radar imagery and you're sort of looking at it and you're going, what's going on? Well, right now there are rain, thunderstorms that are coming in the eastern side now. You may even get some sunshine there into Richmond, Virginia. On the western side, there may be some sun coming in, but far to the south and far to the north, these are all thunderstorms that have popped up here. And you can see within these thunderstorms that we're looking at, these are rotating there and there and there. These are rotating storms, South Charles City. And then back on across the rest of the area there, we do have some more thunderstorms that are occurring out of the Studley area there to the north, up into the Tuck Fork region. Still have that. Just taking my life into my hands when I do that. Up into Maryland, there's some stuff going on here too, but nothing that's really ominous at this point. It looks like it's going to be causing any problems into the short term. We'll go to the DOX radar and take a look over to D.C. And again, as you can see, it's rain coming into the Dale City, the Lake Ridge region, over to Alexandria, south of Washington, D.C. Silver Spring, you got a little bit of light rain coming in there too, but it's all east I-95 over the western side of Chesapeake. And doesn't look like there's going to be much there. Highway 17, US 17 on the eastern side. That goes near the Rappahannock, I think, near the river, is what we're looking at. Down to the south. I hope I'm not butchering cities. I so apologize if I am. I hate it when a TV weather person butchers my town where I live. So I understand completely, and I probably just shouldn't even say it, but I do recognize you. If you don't say it and you don't recognize them, then they feel, you're going to feel shorted a little bit. But that's presently what we have. I want to look at the satellite again really quick here, because I think there are probably just more and more breaks beginning to show up across this region. We go to the geocolor here and take a look. Maybe if I go to, can I still go to Nicole and get imagery there? No. Can I go to this mesoscale? Yeah, I think I can. So this just, again, sort of shows us, sort of reinforces what we already knew, is that we had these thunderstorms that are popping up across this region here and doing so fairly rapidly here. I'm going to put, since we just have the one tornado warning, I'm going to put the radar up here for you for just a minute. I got to do something for like 5 minutes, so I'll put the radar up and on screen for just a moment, and then I'll come back with some more information for you. Right now, that is a tornado warned situation. I'll just leave that up for just one moment. Give me 1 moment to do some maintenance, and I will return in just a second. Okay, I appreciate that. What are we looking at here? We're still looking sort of at the same situation here overall. The tornado one that we have down to the south is the only one that is still showing up here at the moment inside of an area where we were projecting to have tornadoes through the day today, where it was going to be the possibility. They do continue the tornado warning. In fact, they just redid it again. They said, hey, we're not kidding. Radar indicated tornado down to the south here, and that's in this area near the, and I enjoy saying this because somebody made this name up. It's near the Great Dismal Swamp. The Great Dismal Swamp in the National Wildlife Refuge, just outside of the Great Dismal Swamp, which is on the eastern side of town, but south of Suffolk. My apologies. I'm thirsty. I do apologize. And that's what we have at the present, the tornado warnings to the north. And look at all these breaks. You can see the sunshine. There's partial sun showing up in some of these areas here, and that aids and abets these thunderstorms. Over here, though, we don't have the same kind of atmosphere. The atmosphere is a little bit drier over there, and not as much humidity is showing up. So at least at this point, what we're looking at is still the likelihood of just some scattered thunderstorms over there. But right now, AKQ is the main radar we are looking at that has the story to be told, which is a series of severe thunderstorms and tornado warnings down to the south. The one we're looking at right here mainly is a pretty strong thunderstorm in its own right, but it does have some spin associated with it as we are looking at it here. The high reflectivity, but the velocity data is indicating to us again where we do have some spin, small spin. It's not like it was a little bit earlier. It's very broad and super. This is only a 12 mile per hour outbound spike here, if you will. This is an inbound over here, and there's nothing going on there really to be too concerned about. This is caution. They're being extra cautious coming up here. That's into the community of Box Elder. And going northward, that's Whaleyville or New Holland. Over the next 30 miles per hour, it's moving off to the north, and we'll be crossing over 58, it looks like here, very shortly, just to the west of Suffolk into Virginia. The other areas that we've been concerned about, little rotation here near Charles City. Nothing worrisome there. That's all south of I-64. North of there, though, we have the two big spins that are still ongoing, and boom, they just issued a new tornado warning. So this is brand new, a tornado warning for the next 34 minutes. Let me read this to you till 3:45 Eastern Time by the National Weather Service out of Wakefield, Virginia. It's going to be King and Queen counties, Caroline County, Hanover County, King William County. You're underneath tornado warnings now. Those will go until 3:45 this afternoon. Tornado warnings that still include those areas near Studley and beyond. It's the Beulahville, Newtonville area. Newtown till 3:45. Enfield, Owenton, Globe, Pollard's Corner, the Upshaw, Etna Mills area, and near Duane Fork. You are still underneath a tornado warning. How many times are they going to redo the tornado warnings? Time and time again. So pretty much what we're looking for is basically what we see. Manpad number 1, thank you so much for watching. Skywarn spotter for the NWS out of Blacksburg, Virginia. Really, really appreciate that. I know you went through some testing there. Let me know what you see. I appreciate that very much. Again, Deb Pratt says, what's that whole town again? I don't know, Deb. I've messed a bunch of them up today. I do apologize. Yeah, we're getting back into the forks, and I do apologize. In Maryland, it is coming your way. Yes, up into Maryland. We're looking at that very closely here, the Winoke region there, and beyond is what we're looking at. Tornado warnings are set to expire in the next 30 minutes, but right now looks a little bit like it is spinning here. I don't see anything super tight. I doubt we'd see anything in our debris signature data. Now, the one thing that you see is the radio coming off of the radar now does point to something ongoing to the north here, and you can see this little artifact that's ongoing into the line, the radio part of this. That's not pointing back over to hail. That's pointing to the northernmost part of rotation that you do see, which is right in here, which would say something's going on there. Now, I'm still studying these kind of artifacts that show up in the radial velocity like this. Sometimes they mean, they can be pointing to some sort of a hail object, but it's normally the initialization or the precursor if you will, to some sort of a debris that might be aloft. Now, it may be very slight and light and honestly not mount up to much. But within that one polygon area there's quite a bit going on. That's going to be a pretty big dark thunderstorm that you'd see off in the distance, too. Epworth over to Tuck Fork into the Bagby area there just outside of Duane Fork. This is all moving northward. County Road 721 up to Sparta, Tignor area there out of Central Point and into Hustle, Virginia. Love that, along US 17 coming out of Port Royal. You should all be watching closely and carefully what is happening here with everything that is going on. Nelson County, Virginia checking in. Thank you, Mr. Lindsley. P, I don't know why I thought your name is your name. I don't know. It's P. Lindsley, Nelson County. Thank you for checking in with us here. And Ariana, we're cool. We're doing fine. The Forks is okay. I got it. Actually, I could get away with it like once. I'm not on national television anymore. I'm not with a national network anymore. And I think I could get away with something. Anyway. Lula says, thank you for keeping us updated. Hey, friend. Is this Lulu? I don't know. We appreciate you. Thank you. That is so much. So kind. I appreciate everybody who's out there. This is all about interactivity, by the way. Everything that we are doing here with LSM Television, we're trying to be interactive. We want to make sure that you and your family stay safe and that you get information. I've combined with, I've been doing this for a long, long time myself, for a super long time, probably, I have underwear older than some of you, but at this point, what we're trying to do here is take, I was getting ready to the point of retiring. I'd been on television for a long, long time. Brett Adair, who is a friend of mine, is also a young man that I kind of grew up with when I was working in Birmingham, Alabama. He was very active in the Birmingham area, very active weather-wise, and, we became quick friends. He's been a young man that I've enjoyed conversing with. We have sort of the same kind of interest in baseball and the weather, so it kind of works out very well. Well, Brad is very active in the storm analyzing field. He's not exactly a chaser. He's an analyzer. He's a scientist who is out there kind of watching the weather, and I enjoy the science of it all. I am way, way beyond the drama, the yelling, the pointing, the we're all going to die sort of thing. Got over that a long, long time ago, with those shows where they catch crabs is kind of where that all stopped for me, because every week somebody fell off the boat. I'm not into that. I'm into the reality of what's going on, the science of what is going on, which I really do enjoy. And as long as I've been doing this now, which is almost 40 years, I've been somewhat of a meteorologist. I used to do the weather in front of the oven for my parents. I did it actually in elementary school when I was down in the 10-year-old range. I would come in and do the weather for class. So I've been interested in weather for a long, long time. But as long as I have been doing it, it's rare to say that I go through an entire day that I don't see, hear, or learn something that I didn't know yesterday. I always sort of learn something every day when it comes to the science of meteorology. So it's always very exciting to me. I learn something. I don't know everything. I learn something from some of the youngest people who are now thriving with the internet the way it is. There are some lay people out there who have never set foot in a meteorology school who are super intelligent when it comes to weather. Weather forecasting is not exactly pure science. If it was, nobody would need us. We'd put all these computer models on the air somehow with, virtual reality, AI kind of stuff. That could happen. That might actually happen. Well, anyway, it does take some human interaction in order to be really decent at it, to be really good at it. And it takes somebody. Look, there are a lot of, if you go in there and you put weather now into YouTube, you're going to see all kinds. It's all about thumbnails now and stuff. It's all about, well, that's a cool looking thumbnail. I'm going to click on that because that person made a cool still image and I bet they know what they're talking about. It's not. And that's about advertising. That's about everything. That's about the end cap in a store where they catch your eye, or right there as you're checking out and they catch your eye with something. We're kind of fighting that. I'm not begging for views, by the way. I'm not making any money whatsoever. I'm not begging for views. I do this because I love it, and it's a hobby to me. And I've always wanted to do this on my own. I've worked for networks. I've worked for every network so far, all the national networks. But I always wanted to do it myself because I wanted to be able to do it the way I wanted to do it, and that was to be interactive. So I really appreciate everybody who's writing all the stuff in about the interactivity. We're going to be doing more and more of that as we move along. Some great stuff here. A woman named Charlotte right now praying for the people in Florida. Absolutely. Because I'm sure they feel like they've been forgotten, wouldn't you think? Even those people who were affected by Ian, even those people who were affected by Michael, Irma, all those from last year, some of them still don't have homes, permanent homes, I'm sure. We move past stuff really, really fast in our society. We're so impatient. You get $10 worth of gas. The first $9.99 goes in really fast. But why does that last one take forever? I've actually put the gas handle back in because it was going so slow. We're that impatient as a society. So I would, say, sort of look back and remember that there are people out there who are still suffering from weather events that took place months and months ago, weeks and weeks ago, who need to be thought about. Brand new tornado warning just now coming in. This one includes the Gates County, North Carolina, Suffolk City area. All they did was take that out of North Carolina, lift it a little bit further to the north. So that's our tornado warning there with that storm that's crossing over 58, US 58 on the south side. You get back up here north of Richmond, you can see from Epworth northward, we still have a Tuck Fork warning here that goes all the way up to County Road 721 on the south side. That's for 25 more minutes. We do have that tornado warning from the National Weather Service. Northwestern King and Queen counties, Caroline, Hanover, King William County. You're underneath a tornado warning near the town of Studley. That's moving northeast at about 30 miles per hour. It's radar indicated, but is a dangerous storm. Newtown, Beulahville, around 3:30. This will be coming in from the south side. Reflectivity showing us that we do have some spin, some rotation there. We have two of them, actually. The one near Bagsby, the other one near Epworth. And as soon as I say that, and I'm like, yeah, that's going to be, it's gone. I'm not really sure why it's gone. It was supposed to be there until 3:45, but it has since gone. South Central Suffolk. And the other one is gone. Seems like they should tell me. It's gone. I'm assuming they took it down because it was supposed to go until 3:45, but we just don't. I mean, there's really not a lot there as far as the signature goes. There's an inbound and an outbound, but it's not really tightly packed like it was a little bit earlier. Kind of getting in an area here, too, away from AKQ. And before we can get into the DOX area, DOX picks it up, but it's super broad on DOX there out of Delaware. So we're going with the AKQ here at the moment, which is a little bit further down to the south in US 13. I got to do something, and I don't care. I got to look for a cord because my iPad is about to go dead. So enjoy the radar. Oh, la, la. When you're building a studio, you're creating ambience. The ambience of it all. Room is dark behind me, kind of thing. Well, now it's so dark I can't find a connection for my iPad. How about y'all talk amongst yourselves for just a minute? There you have it. I think we get another couple of hours out of that now. That's the only warning that we presently have. The only warning that we have at the moment. Again, I'm meteorologist David Neal. You're watching LSM here on YouTube today. Live Storms Media Television. Brett Adair, owner and operator and participator. He is a friend of mine, and we're kind of doing this together here to see if we can get something going on, because I think I just went off on a tangent there a while ago with about bad information and about thumbnails and that kind of thing. I don't think our thumbnail is jacked up. I know it's not with the wording. It may be pretty, but you'll just have to remember us and talk about us if you like what we're doing here, which is we're just kind of trying to tell the truth in all actuality. So sort of keeping that in mind and what is basically happening. Anton says, amen. Okay. Can't go political, Anton. Got a moderator on here who's hidden, and she will ruin you and your entire family and their children and their children and their children if you do too much there. Somebody lives in Suffolk. What's the weather like? Tell me what the weather's like. You just told me that you live there, but what's the weather like right now? Because there is a tornado warning just outside of there, on the south side of you there, but a couple have passed over a little bit earlier that we've been watching pretty closely there into the area. Also, what's that hometown again? Trying to get up to these questions that I sort of had missed over a little bit earlier. My cat's trying again. What is Bloom made of? I'm on Twitter and the Twitter platform. His friends. Charlotte has friends in California. She just told me to pass that along. That's about where we are. What we see is what we got. Bong bong, bing bong. Bing Bong Buddies, Bong Bong Buddies gave me a thumbs up. So appreciate that. Bong Buddy. I'm just not going to ask. Is there another tornado warning? They just reissued that thing again. So they took it away. They reissued it a little bit further to the north. So now the tornado warning now is just north of Epworth. It looks like along 721 south of Bagby, moving northward and eastward up toward Highway 17. We'll be in the Highway 17 here very, very shortly. But let's talk about what's going on with that warning in particular, because it is brand new. The National Weather Service, again, out of the office down to the south there in Wakefield, Virginia, issues a tornado warning in effect until 3:45 now. We got about 17 more minutes on this tornado warning for King Queen County, southeastern Caroline, northwestern King William counties. You're underneath a tornado warning with a possible storm coming in from the south. Dangerous storm near Beulahville, Newtown at about 3:45. Coming into the Duane Fork area near Epworth and Upshaw within the next few moments as well. Because of this, we have strong spin. There are two areas up here. The one near Bagby is much broader. Those are the two that we've been following. Those two circulations for several hours have been on the map in some form or fashion, and they've cycled through. They've either been too small to be doing anything or cycled through. Now, this one that is near Epworth at the moment, there's some reason to believe that thing could have something going on. There is now more inbound and outbound with it than I have seen in quite some time, at least as far as a couplet goes. I'll put that into motion and show you where it is right now and check out some of the data that belongs with it. I think there's a couplet right here. We go from 78 mile per hour wind going away from the radar site, coming toward the radar site to just the opposite. And that looks pretty ominous. That looks pretty pretty scary there at the moment. That's going to be, again, right inside that area of the highway, the Epworth area there, which is very near 30. I think it's going to be County 30 coming in there on the western side, inbound, outbound, and the likelihood of a tornado going to be right in this area right here. Shouldn't even draw that in the dark coloring. It's going to be right about there when it comes in, just south and east of Duane Fork in 720. But that is right inside of the county here, if you will, that we've been watching for a while. The counties, let me say, the royal counties of King and Queen, southeastern Caroline, King William County, you're underneath tornado warnings because of a dangerous spin that is occurring here that quite possibly might be leading to a tornado just east of Duane Fork, it looks like. In between Duane and Tuck, you folks who live in Duane in the Fork area, this is coming in on that southwestern side. Salvia is off to the north. We got Tignor there as well as Lloyd's coming in. Small communities near Hustle. You are in the path of a possible tornado coming in on the western side, south of the Potomac, the Great Potomac River. But look at it, a decent-sized storm here. And I can say storm this time because I do have a lightning strike just to the east of the poorhouse. Would you believe it or not? And Christopher Fork. There's stuff all over the Fork. Jack. Everybody's forking up in here. The Bethlehem is forked. Jack is forked. Liberty's forked. If you're not forked, you're not. You're just not. Christopher Fork. Don't tell me you can't get lost here. If you're traveling, if you're new to the area, and you just take the wrong fork for just a minute, what happens? I mean, how do you give directions up in here? I'm at Bethlehem Fork. Now, once you take the left one, well, then you end up over at Liberty Fork, and you say, well, yeah, but then you got to go on the right one to get over Christopher Fork. And that's normally where you encounter a farmer, and he says, listen, I'll tell you what, I want you to turn 3 miles to the right. I want you to turn 3 miles before I do, off to the right there, and then you end up somewhere down back in Duane Fork again, I'm guessing. I'm sorry. I just didn't know there were that many forks up there. I think I had no forking idea that there was that many forks in that general area there. Get the fork. Hustle. Still got some stuff going on there too. So all that. Manpad 1 says, oh, and I do use Radar Omega when I'm tracking. That is excellent, Manpad 1. Don't you like it? I mean, there's a lot there and a lot to be cleaned up. That's why I'm about to start working for them. They've offered me a position to kind of help them clean up a little bit because a lot of stuff is all over the place, but it's a lot of stuff that you get out of a mainline system that in the years past I paid $100,000 for. It's all here within a small app. And bless their hearts, they were like, we've got the ability to do this. Let's just shove it all in there. But now they're, kind of trying, even I myself, I've been working on it for a long, long time. Even before I even thought about working with them, I got the app and I just didn't put it down. I never went back to my other app. My other app hadn't changed in years and years and years. These guys are changing this thing like monthly. I know there's a change about to come up that's going to blow your mind. There's a change coming up to this app, this Omega app, that is going to, you're going to go, am I a TV station now? Because it's got pretty much everything coming to it that a television station would have and a little bit more. This is a little deal right here, by the way, on the radar reflectivity. I'm going to talk about this because it's not imminent that a huge tornado is coming, folks. But one of the things to the Radar Omega app that you can do, the reflectivity that you see over here on the right, I'm going to click it for you here. The high res, I'm going to click on that. But I'm going to click on the area here that says this little bucket. It's got a little bucket right there. That's a smoothing area. This is an anti-aliasing part of this thing that doesn't. If you don't want any, you just push it over there to none, and it gets. You can see it's all pixelated there. If you don't want any anti-aliasing, well, this is kind of like what my other app looked like, what everything looked like. But you just do a little bit of anti-aliasing there, and look how smooth everything gets. You still don't lose the intensities at all. You still have all of your different areas of intensity, but look how it smooths on out. You can smooth it way on out, but then that looks like a composite, and you don't really see all the complexities within a cell. I just do one little smooth there, and then I get all of my other decibel levels coming back to me that are still still good to me. So I do love that about that. You can't do that with the other app that is out there at the moment. And I wrote a letter to the other app, and I said, hey, let me help you because you haven't done anything in years and years and years. Anyway, that's what we have is the one tornado warning that's still sitting out there at this moment, and that's pretty much out there. Yeah, and if you the word, can I just say the word chase? If you're a chaser, that word's gotten a bad annotation here connotation with it here lately, because there are some chasers out there who I really don't even think care if they get caught in a tornado. I think they'd like to be that headline on the newscast, and that's sad. This whole deal about going and watching storms. When I was in college, we used to go for the science of it all. I mean, it was all about the science. It wasn't about trying to get on the national newscast with injuries, and that's happening. I'm telling you, there are some people out there now who are trying to be the headlines, who are trying to be the newscast, and making it about them. Beware, folks. Beware of that. Something is going to have to be done. Well, this app in particular takes on storm spotters that are out there who are bona fide, let's say. You can't just be any Lucky Lou and get on and be a storm spotter. So we get information. I got nothing against them. I used to be one. In fact, I was one like a year ago with Brett. He and I went down to Hurricane Irma, and I was a dot that was on the map as a spotter. There are spotters and there are chasers, and the mentality between the two is pretty difficult at this time. We got to beware of what is happening because the roads are getting clogged with, I had a young man write to me. I'm sorry, I'm sort of off on a tangent again, but I had a young man write to me recently. He said, I've watched you all my life, kind of blah, blah, blah. And he said, I'm so happy. I'm turning 16. I'm going to get my driver's license, and now I can go see a tornado. I'm going to chase. Well, if every 16-year-old kid did, do you realize what's about to happen when it comes to that? And it's because it's been glorified. If you get caught or almost killed, it gets hits. And that's all. It's not about that. It shouldn't be about that. I guess some of it has to be, but there are a couple places out there right now. If you write a thumbnail that says "We're all going to die tomorrow," can get 1 million hits. If you make a little thumbnail and it says 5 feet of snow in Chicago tomorrow, you can drive people to check out what happened. When they get there, they're gonna, if they're smart enough, when they get there, they're gonna, oh, same old thing. So be careful about what you click on. If you just do weather, I just clicked on it, and all these thumbnails, they look almost identical now. Everybody's realized what YouTube does, who they pick and choose. Just be careful about what you're doing there. Make sure you got somebody bona fide. I don't think 90% of the people on there have ever had a meteorology class, which doesn't really, I had 5 years of meteorology classes because I failed one, so I'm not saying it's that easy to do, but I've had 40 years of being on television, and I've flown in a couple of hurricanes, and I don't know how many hurricanes I've reported live from. Make sure the people, it's like going to the doctor, make sure the person you're getting your information has actually been inside of a human body before. Let me fix that. Make sure that they cut one open before, and if they're going to work on your heart, I want a doctor who's maybe done it before, or at least seen it done outside of a YouTube video. So try to do that. I got to get off of this. I'm so sorry. Okay, Anton. And we don't even want to get into that. There was a chaser who spotted a tornado around Waverly. That was a man a little bit earlier. There you go. Man pad. He doesn't chase. He tracks and monitors. That's perfect. That is perfect. That's exactly what we're looking for. Does Virginia have an obsession with forks? Ariana, find out. Google that for me. Find out what's going on with that. I don't know why at that time period. This is over in the old country. See if you can find out why everything got the name of a fork. I mean, maybe it forks over there a lot. Maybe there's a bunch of. Maybe it forks. Maybe you look down, there's a fork. You get to, maybe you're walking down the road, and all of a sudden, road to the left, road to the right. If you're a very indecisive person and you're trying to make clarity out of your life, you probably don't want to go there. Sylvia, this is the very tail end of this last tornado warning. This is going to be up here on the northern side. Tornado indicated 6 more minutes on this tornado warning here on the northern side. That's going to be up there into the northwestern King Queen County, Central Carolina, northwestern King William County, Beulahville, and St. Stephen's Church. Moving to the east at about 30 miles per hour. I don't have verification of that. I do have an inbound and an outbound that goes along with it. Somewhat broad. There's a little pixelization here, pixel to pixel. It does look quite interesting right about there, just south of Salvia, and moving northeastward, but I don't have anything that looks like it would indicate to us that we have anything on the ground there at this moment. Why did I say that without looking first? What is that? You back this up just a little bit. All right, look. I don't see anything from the National Weather Service office, but look, because right there, the last couple of frames, there is a correlation coefficient CC drop that is likely occurring. That's on the northwestern side near Sparta. Does it match up with the radar? Sparta, that is not part of it. What's going on here, folks? It looks like a true drop in Sparta, but it's not doesn't match up super well with my radar data from there. Velocity data, all the velocities on the eastern side of the polygon. Could just be some fallout from earlier before. Look, this debris doesn't go up and come straight down. Debris, when it's kicked up and gets into the upper level wind there that might be in the 60, 70 mile per hour range, can go a long way, especially if it's light. Some of the examples of that, the tornado that hit in 2011 there in Tuscaloosa, a drugstore was hit right there. That an old drug store was hit. Tuscaloosa. Prescriptions were found from that in Gadsden, Alabama, which was 126 miles away before the paper from that drugstore fell down to the ground. It was found at the Goodyear Tire and Rubber plant. My brother-in-law worked there at the time. So it does happen to where the artifact, the debris, is up into the air and comes down. But I'm not really sure why. This is a little bit odd looking to me to have that much of a anomaly there in Sparta that is pretty good ways away from the actual polygon, or what I would consider the tornado, most likely being down here along Highway 720 coming up into Salvia and the Central Point area. That's just around Sparta. So kind of what we're looking at here at the moment. Bellarain says Virginia's obsessed with forks. No, the people who name the streets are, but there are lots of forks in the road. So that makes plenty of common sense there. Manpad 1 says those names were established in the 1800s, kind of like we thought. So pretty much what we're looking at. Whizzleman says, are we going to see any major flooding? Nah. Now, all this stuff is moving super fast now, and so coming in from the south, moving to the north. It's not like you have big train echoes down to the south of all this. Everything's moving pretty quickly off to the north, and so it doesn't look like really all this is going to hang around for very long. That's I-64 on the south side where you're looking at all that. Then the tornado there to the north. Coming into the western side of Chesapeake Bay there, where it still looks like there's going to be some more rain coming in, but all this is so broken up. There's not going to be any severe flooding that goes on with this whatsoever. In fact, this storm right now is moving out of the polygon area, and it's north of County Road 20, north, if you will, of Ashland there, just outside of Mechanicsville, coming into the Highway 17 region on the south side. And actually, in totality here, we're really seeing we're on the downswing, I think, of things here into eastern Virginia. There's a storm over here just west of Richmond. That is a storm near Goochland, Sandy Hook area there, just outside of Cartersville and Jefferson. Then back to the east, another couple of storms, the ones that we've had to the south. This one did have a tornado warning associated with it just a little bit earlier, and still has some inbound and outbound material right there associated with it, but it's all very broad. There's nothing pixel to pixel, gate to gate that we are looking at. South of there, a couple of more things that are going on. Actually, watch this one little storm that could. This is the itty bitty storm that's sitting out there just to the north of Freeman. Is it Colleyville there? And 633. It looks like County Road 633. There's a separation actually in the reflectivity, and then boom, there's still some spinning there, and I'm not positive that's not a tornado that is on the ground right there near Colleyville. Gate-to-gate shear that was showing up there just moments ago. In fact, I'll back this up just a tiny bit to show you. Right there, I think we at least had a funnel that was ongoing, and a huge turning, probably with a wall cloud associated with it, was going on there too. They don't have a tornado warning in effect there right now. They make that call. I don't, but that is a suspect area. It's just so tiny as you look at it. In fact, I had to go back and look at it several times in order to see it myself, but it sort of caught my eye, especially when there was a separation there into the reflectivity data that said, things were a little bit different. Now, as you look back over here into the 258, that's US 258 onto the western side, bounded by the western side, there's that other little storm over there that continues. The velocity data indicating inbound and outbound is very righteous there in that area. Same down to the south. This is near the Great Dismal Swamp in the National Wildlife Refuge. What was the name of the swamp? What was the name of the swamp in the... wasn't the Great Dismal Swamp, I don't think. I think I'm thinking of something else. Where was he not supposed to go into the swamp? I guess that's kind of like every movie, but... Ariana, I don't think you have to apologize. Everybody's cool on here. How bad will Ocean City, Maryland get? It's not a situation where it's going to get anything. There's some off and on the off and on sort of situation that's ongoing here is more or less what we're looking at are hit or miss thunderstorms that are occurring. So it's not really an off or on sort of thing. I don't even see up and down the line. I don't see any sort of thunderstorms, anything coming in. Ocean City's up here near Ocean Pines east. On the eastern side, almost to Delaware. Let me go to the Delaware radar. That's the velocity data. Here is the actual radar. There's some stuff offshore, but that's not coming onshore. That's actually moving away from you. All of this stuff down to the south is moving away from you, not toward you. So no harm there whatsoever from all this stuff going in this direction. Back to the west, you'll see some of this stuff is coming in a little bit closer to you now. But looks like it may be passing north of you. So I don't really expect a whole lot there. Could there be an errant some kind of a warning, tornado warning? It wouldn't be severe thunderstorm. Maybe a tornado warning. It's possible, but as we go further in time here and we lose sunshine in the day, we're also going to lose the instability factor that goes along with all of this. So I don't see anything any further to the north actually that goes with that either. Do a bigger picture here of the radar. I'm going to take on the composite across the rest of the nation as a whole just to show you. There's showers down to the south. There's more rain and thunderstorms up into New Jersey, New York. Down to the south, we got some more going on down there too into Jamestown, the Norfolk area. And then back to the west, you can see over the Great Smoky Mountains, it's raining here. Some of the feeder bands going southward out of our low pressure, which is, if you just draw it on the map here, now I haven't really, actually, let's just show it to you. I'll use the METAR data. And we'll look at everything in detail, and we can just pick out where the low pressure center is back over in here. We'll have to use the radar I can't, well, I don't have radars on, so put the radars on. And we'll use our radar maybe at a high top and see what we can see. Stop that. We're going to stop that, do that, and do this. Nope, GSP. We use the GSP. Now, if you look at it here, you can see it as we look at our data. At the wind direction, these are the wind barbs that are drawn on any summary map that you get that shows METARs or any other data that is out there, and just kind of show you the wind flags as you look at them. They're coming in. This is a south wind here. This is all southerly winds on the outer side here. Southerly winds right here. Southerly wind, southerly wind, southerly wind. And then it begins to shift a little bit more. And so we're beginning to see the low pressure itself coming in out of the south. And so the low looks like, get rid of the pencil stuff here. The low looks like it's coming in more like this. We know it's going to be on the north side of these westerlies. So I would really just draw the low pressure itself somewhere right in here over the mountains. And it's deteriorating quite a bit. But we have a northerly wind here. That puts us with some of the winds coming in here and here. And now there's the shape of your low pressure center as it wiggles its way on northward. Get rid of all that. I want to go back to the west here, though, to take a look at what's happening in Texas real quick, because we are expecting thunderstorms to blossom there very shortly, and we could have some warnings. And if you ever want to see 2.5-inch size hail, that may be coming here in the hours to come. This is a boundary moving southward along 45, but back over into the 49, I-49 that comes in out of Alexandria, Louisiana through Natchitoches, and then northward up into the rest of that area, which is of concern. And I say that now, and they just now issued a severe thunderstorm watch, in effect, that goes all the way over into the hill country here, actually. Or no, that's actually an update to the watch. So let me just read that to you as it comes across. They are looking at some new information now. This is on the south side of Texas, where large hail, strong thunderstorm gusts continue to move in across portions of southern Texas. The radar imagery have shown deeper updrafts into the Wilson-Gonzales County vicinity. The development will likely bring in some really large hail. The radar down to the south, a little bit further down to the south as we get down here into Corpus Christi, Texas, watching what's happening all across the state of Texas. I don't see any of these thunderstorms just yet that have gone crazy. But nonetheless, they all need to be watched closely, because over the next couple of hours, the sunshine is going to be at its peak. Say this one south of San Antonio, that would need to be watched. We'll be watching that with a new product. This product will be called VIL, vertically integrated liquid. This is a density object. This is telling us what is large in density, and that's right there. That's going to be hailstones south of Stockdale. So this is like a continuation of a different product that we've been talking about. The hail's already beginning to fall up here to the north. You can see that as well when we look at the radar data here out of San Antonio, out of north of Austin, excuse me. There are hail stones that are gathering from there to Crockett. It looks like along that line, tremendous amounts of lightning that's occurring. The radar reflectivity shows the same as you're coming through and down to the south to near Huntsville and beyond, and that's going to be an area of concern as we go through the rest of this afternoon. So your thunderstorm watch remains in effect there across the southern hill country of Texas. So we definitely will be keeping that in mind. We no longer have a tornado warning into the eastern half of the country there, but nonetheless, that needs to be watched and monitored very, very closely. Quick look at our scale here of what is happening. We'll go down and take a closer look at what's happening down into the southern parts, south central U.S. Let's see what kind of good detail we have down here. Here you go. Pretty good information. This is showing you the blossoming thunderstorms. This is in the visible. And that's only 14 frames. Let me jet this thing out to about 75 or so and see what we got. And you got great detail of height showing up in the satellite imagery here at this point when you do that. Notice all of these thunderstorms that are beginning to build in and slide and move very quickly now from the south to the north. The clean IR gives us an indication, too, of more of the thunderstorm height. Here's some new growth. That's what this is going to tell us about. I got too many frames in there. New growth that's beginning to show up south and east of San Antonio, and this line of stuff that's going on just south of Gonzales, or to the north. You've already got the big blow up of stuff going on there. Cold cloud tops are what we're looking at here. Some of these cloud tops reaching into the negative 80 degree range right in here. That's what the purples are indicating to us. Excuse me, purples. Those are bright oranges. Which are really, really cold cloud tops. That's going to be a big area there of concern we'll be looking at through the remainder of the day today. And then back here, we're still watching in our mesoscale what is going to be some action continuing for the next several hours in the form of new thunderstorm growth. Now, we'll look at the IR to show you. Infrared imagery showing you here the difference between the ground and the actual cloud temperatures. Colder cloud temperatures are going to be indicated by the reds, and those are the ones that have the thunderstorms attached to them. And as a result, what we'll be seeing is more thunderstorms. Now, we're losing sunlight of the day on the east coast, slowly but surely, so these will get darker and darker as they go along. Still a complex area of thunderstorms offshore to be seen. Those are out here well off of Kitty Hawk at the moment, but those aren't coming in. Those are moving away from land. They're not going to be players into this forecast anytime really soon, so see ya. Wouldn't want to be. Those are going to be out of the region here, and continuation of those moving on eastward for the remainder of the rest of this evening. Still that tornado watch. It's in effect here across the rest of this area. I haven't seen an update on that at this point, but I do know it is still out there, that tornado watch. We no longer have any tornado warnings here in the eastern half of the country, so that has all somewhat calmed down, and I really don't see any reason. Like a couple of hours ago, I saw... really no reason, or a couple of hours ago, I saw a reason to come on the air because I knew we were going to go from 1 to 3 to 5 to, well, we have 6 polygons. Did we have 6 warnings, folks, together there at that one time? Were there 6 warnings out there? It's close to that. So I knew I needed to come on. Well, that's not the case. And so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to let you stop listening to me murmur on about the same old stuff here overall. There's a new tornado warning for Dinwiddie, Virginia. We're going to look at it. Let's go back here and look at it. I don't want to go away from it just yet. Brand new tornado warning. Why? Let me see why. Now, again, I get the information before it actually comes across the app. But this is going to be... Where is this? This is down to the south again. It's that same old area. That's that little storm that I wasn't making fun of it, but it was a tiny little bitty thing. It's just a little bitty. I mean, it's no bigger than, see there, it popped up. It's no bigger than like a 5-minute drive, and you're through the entire thing, but it is still producing a possible tornado. Radar indicated inbound and outbound. This is called gate-to-gate shear. When you got pixel to pixelization of wind going from one direction to completely the opposite, that is called gate-to-gate shear. And the tornado is right there, or it was. This was at 2:54, 2 minutes ago. See, it already updated. 2:55:19. They got the radar in a deal here where it's updating like every 2 minutes now instead of 5. So they're not spinning the whole thing around. They're actually just waving it back and forth at this particular object here. So we're getting very quick information. It's called same information, but just to make sure you know what's going on. There it is, a likely tornado again occurring right in this area here that's not too far to the south. I mean, if you're looking for a distance measurement, Mount Olivet, it's super close to there. You got to quit drawing before you do this. See, I'm still learning this app. Mount Olivet, look at that, 3.7 miles away from there. A likely tornado is coming in from the south side. I want to look real quick and see if there's, yeah. I'm so sorry. I haven't been making fun of this, but I just knew it was a small thing. And there's a correlation coefficient with it, which says it's probably picking up something. There's probably some sort of debris that's being sent aloft into the atmosphere because of this. There was a debris signature right there for sure. That was just a couple of times ago. So we got a strong debris signature now beginning to show up with this. Just south of Mount Olivet. coming northward. It's going to be crossing over that 40, County 40, just to the east of I-85, and McKinney and DeWitt coming in on the southeastern side of which that is going northward. So a tornado warning was issued there from the National Weather Service office, again, out of Wakefield, Virginia, and rightly so. That is a likely tornado there on the southwestern side of things. It's still rotating, still going to be associated more with this tropical situation. This isn't like a big baroclinic, big mid-cyclonic low coming out of, or mid-latitude low coming out of the west that's moving across Kansas and Nebraska. In fact, it's already lost a lot of its characteristics of a tightly packed couplet to couplet sort of a deal. It's now in the latest scan. You see, we're getting scans now every 2 minutes from the National Weather Service. They're going back and forth with it instead of a complete 6-minute round and round. They're watching this one closely. But it does have a velocity signature, and it also has some debris associated with it. This is a correlation coefficient drop. The anomaly to everything that you do see, everything else that shows up here looks the same, right? And just do our little tutorial here on this. All of this stuff right here, that looks the same. That's because these are raindrops that keep falling on your head right here and here and here. Go away. Need that to go away. This is rain. And so it comes back to the radar side as being the same color. Color doesn't change at all. Well, this right here is not rain. This is NR, not rain. This is something else, and this is going to be an object. And again, at this point, we don't know. You know, Brett is on the ground. Brett Adair, who's my partner in this, he's on the ground when this stuff is happening, and he knows a whole lot more about the ground truth to something like this, to these debris signatures that show up, because oftentimes he's driving up the tail end of them, and so he can tell you a whole lot more about what might actually be the reality of what is on the ground. And so when we look at that, that's what we're thinking about here at the moment, is what is the reality of that? Is that going to be a bunch of twigs? Is it going to be somebody's house? And if you look south of there, if you go downstream, a lot of this, just from what we've got from our mapping here, the satellite mapping says a lot of pastures down in this area. This is all pasture land, it looks like, and fields that have been planted. There are a lot of planted fields showing up here. Here's a planted field. All of these are going to be planted fields. Those are trees that have been planted there. Some kind of trees. I don't know what kind of trees. Somebody's doing some pine tree planting here because they're all in rows. Check this out. This is some kind of an orchard, it looks like. That is an orchard there of some sort. So we're looking at a lot of, here's a river, the Nottoway River. A lot of farmland out in this area. I bet it is stunningly beautiful. It looks beautiful even on the map that I'm looking at. So quite possibly the debris signature that we're looking at could be some trees, tops of trees, not probably all big trees, but the tops of trees. There's some kind of debris that is aloft here, and you always look downstream to see what it could be, and I hate it when it's a town. This is not a town, Callaville, but it is, it's a crossroad here, and it doesn't matter. It looks like a baseball field, but it's somebody's field there that they've planted. But this is, and I'm just going to show it for a second because it's on a map. That's somebody's house, and somebody lives there, and so to somebody, it matters greatly as to what is going on. Huge field. Look at all this property out in here, going to a beautiful lake. I'd love to fish that lake. That looks stunning there. Don't you just love looking at some of this stuff up here? I don't just feel a little bit like a voyeur though sometimes, but I mean, the picture is here. So it's a tornado warning. It's still in effect here. It's got 28 more minutes on this tornado warning from the National Weather Service out of Wakefield, Virginia. They're saying a tornado is on the ground near Dinwiddie County. This is going to be near Purdy and moving northeast. Dangerous storm here coming out of the Wharfs store in Cherry Hill area and moving northward and eastward, doing so at a pretty decent clip here overall, something we've been looking at for the past couple of hours, and we'll continue to do so as we go through and into the rest of this evening. Outside of Petersburg, the Colonial Heights area, Hopewell and Chester, still more there too that we're looking at. Ariana says they grow a lot of grapes in California. I heard that. anything close to Lynchburg. Right now, I don't have anything close to Lynchburg. On the map, we look pretty good here at the moment. We got a couple of thunderstorms that are further and further off to the east. I don't think anything but some rain might show up in Lynchburg again, coming with the low. Look at the radar out of there, and I'll just show you. There's some rain in Lynchburg down to the south. We got some more showers that are coming up from the south that'll be moving northeastward up into Lynchburg, and I think your forecast overall is going to be for rain for the rest of the evening. As soon as this comes on in, these are the feeder bands, if you will, that were out there over the open ocean that are now associated with our low pressure coming in from the south and west. And that's pretty much what is happening. That is Lynchburg into Virginia. Right now, we still have the one tornado warning out of the storm. Little small storm here, but big enough to be creating attention from the National Weather Service office. And they're saying this is a tornado warning coming in from the Wakefield office. They could almost see it from there. It's on the west side of I-95, on the east side of 85 as a likely tornado here. The velocity data still indicating gate to gate. This is amazing. I wish I had a picture of this. Somebody should have a photograph of this, because it's going to be highly visible depending upon where you are. It's going to be highly visible from the south as you look into the northern side of this. It'll be in Dinwiddie here in just a few moments. It is in that direction coming into Dinwiddie from the south side, and then quite possibly could get on up there a little bit further into Petersburg before it's all over with. But that is a small tornado coming in on the south-hand side. It did produce some kind of damage because there's still an anomaly that shows up near Mount Olivet there on the northern side of 40, on the eastern side of 666. Is there really a road 666, or is my eyesight horrible? 646. I believe that is going to be. I got to get with the folks at Radar Omega and going to make me either something that's bigger so I can see these a little better, or you could almost do this. I've got Radar Omega up behind me here too. And there's that storm if I play it that way. It's about... I don't know, there's 25 more minutes on that, and maybe I should use this to keep an eye on Texas here as well on the western side. Austin, Texas. San Antonio, Texas. There's where a lot of that stuff is here at the moment. Let's go to the Austin radar, though, and we can look at all of it, I think. Bring it over here into frame for you like that, and put that into motion. I don't see any warnings, but I may not have them on. Hold on. Nope, I have them on, but there are no severe thunderstorm warnings, no tornado warnings over there at this moment. High res correlation coefficient is what we're looking at. Still have an inbound and an outbound. That is a likely tornado right where it should be on the south side of the area there. That is likely going to be a small tornado coming in on the south side. The National Weather Service office just reassures me. They say, hey, Dave, still tornado warning there till 4:30. And that is moving into Dinwiddie County on the south side of all of that. It's still one of those things there that we are looking at very closely. I got a few people there who are trying to put eyes on it, and we'll be getting some information back from them here very shortly to see if we can get that. Typically, what we're going to be doing is showing you more and more in the way of pictures here, and I feel pretty good at the moment because, let me just do this really, really quickly. I'm going to get some more information here, and we'll check in with meteorologist Brett Adair in just a second, as soon as I can get some information and put him on television here with me to help talk about what's going on here at the moment. Let me make this full, and we'll get over here in just a second. There are showers and thunderstorms that we've been watching for a while here during the day today that have been building off and on. We're not exactly, well, I shouldn't have done that. I apologize. Let me get back to this. I'm going to put you on hold for just 1 second here. We're going to get to Brett in just a couple of seconds, and we'll fill in the rest of these notches. Right now, it's a tornado warning there that we're looking at, and it's probably even a tornado. We're going to get with Brett Adair and have some more info. Give me 15 seconds for station identification. I don't know. Give me 15 seconds. All right, I think we got this here. I'm sorry, Brad. I got you there in a weird sort of situation. Can you hear me, buddy?
I can hear you. You got me, David?
I do have you, and I think you're going through. I think everything is going through right here. And, we've had a little thing going on here for a little while during the day today, and I know you've had some stuff to do. We've had off and on tornado warnings, though, that popped up, and we had more than one, so I decided to pop on the air here. And I appreciate you joining me. Now, I have been privy to almost no information whatsoever, so please tell me what's going on in the outside world.
All right, I am. Let me see. First of all, David, let's get to the radar there with the tornado warning that's in effect in Virginia. I am getting you some info right now. That is what that tornado warning there is in effect for southeastern Dinwiddie County. 404 still producing a tornado near DeWitt, 7 miles east of McKinney, moving north at 25. We've been watching several areas of rotation this afternoon with these storms as they have developed from the remnants of Nicole as it moves off up into the mid-Atlantic region. Had a couple of tornadoes earlier, South Carolina last night, North Carolina. And this kind of continues to be the trend. What I'm looking for, I know you've been talking radar here, David. I'm looking for ground truth, and It looks like I may have it. Okay. Dinwiddie County. I'm looking at video right now. Can't show it, obviously. It's on Twitter. Stovepipe tornado in progress with that storm. Picture of a drone. So there is a tornado in progress as of 5 minutes ago with that storm. It looks ragged, not fully condensed to the ground, but definitely off and on.
Yeah, did you see it? I mean, look at it back here. I mean, it was gate to gate sort of thing crossing over Mount Olivet there at that point. And then all of a sudden we had, ground truth here. We had the correlation coefficient that went wacky.
Well, it's still, I just got a better view of it. Wow, man, because that's so isolated where it's located. There's no storms around it there. You can look at the radar and you see that there's zero around it. There's sun shining in between this storm and blue skies. I'm looking at it physically. I can't really pop it in here, but there's an active tornado there south of Dinwiddie. So we can call that, a tornado that's been in progress off and on as it moved north there toward Mount Olivet across 40. It's about to move up 85. That's going to be very interesting over the course of the next few minutes as the storm continues to push off to the north at 25. It looks like it's losing a little bit of its velocities there. One thing that I have noted is we look at surface observations around these storms. Just south of this storm down in Emporia, you got an east-southeast surface wind at about 10, blowing at 120 degrees. Some of the other obs in the area are more south-southeast, so this is in an area of more enhanced low-level shear. So there's likely more vertical stretching that's ongoing as well with the instability that has built into the area. I'm pulling some of the information here from our computer model system that David also looks at, and trying to see what the instability values are that are feeding this storm specifically. So bear with me just 1 second. I'm going to toss it back to Dave and let David just kind of give you some info.
Yeah, so we're looking at the reflectivity on the left-hand side of your screen. I double box things here for you just to kind of show you. This is where it splits down the middle. What's two products here that we're looking at. One's reflectivity on the left-hand side to show you. This is a tiny thing. This is a little bitty storm. This is a 5-minute rainer when it goes on by. And it doesn't really have the same characteristics it did even a few moments ago when it was out there. But it still has had on the lower side of it a spin, a rotation that was occurring nowhere near what it was maybe 30 minutes ago when we saw that being kicked up. But we still have some indication that there is debris aloft. It's showing up in our correlation coefficient, or what we've been calling the debris data. There's fallout now on it. All over the side of the road on east of 85, it looks like. 85 coming into the east side of Dinwiddie and south of the White Oak Road, the battlefield area. And this has been, we've talked about this now for about 3 hours now in succession between 4 or 5 different cells that have come in from the south and moved northward across all of this area here. That's the one lone thing that we're looking at. Now, we got a little bit going on up here as well, south of 17, Brett, that I've been watching. This is True Heart, where we've had a tornado warning. This is the one that was on the eastern side of Richmond a little bit earlier, tornado warned. It's now a little bit further to the north. I don't know if DOX can get a better idea. It's a close call, but that had some debris on it as well there just a few moments ago when it was showing up on the radar imagery from the south hand side, the correlation coefficient. And there's still a little bit there, B. There's something going on aloft anyway there just outside of Colonial Beach.
Yeah, David, that makes a lot of sense. So give the viewers at home a little bit of information here. We're looking at the parameters. Basically, we've got more of a ragged, system with a tropical system moving up into the area now. This is more of what you would see as your prototypical severe weather event. So, David, we've got in this area where the tornado warned storm is currently located, we got a ton of juice. We got surface-based Cape values over 2,000. We look at really, really low-level Cape when we see some of these bigger type tornadoes, and we've got 3 kilometer Cape values over 200. Those are very, very high. I mean, those are some of the high values we look for when we're seeing significant type events. Now, not sure that we're going to see that today. So angles are a little different to see that type of stuff, and our shear is actually going to begin to wane some with time in the area. We still got 200, 250, 0 to 1 values, though, which is quite a bit of shear. It's enough shear to deal with tornadic activity. And it looks like that's going to start waning after maybe 8 o'clock tonight as this system really begins to move off toward the northeast. But it looks like you still got a 4 or 5 hour window here across portions of Virginia, North Carolina, of severe activity and possible tornadoes. And it looks like, again, we've got an ongoing tornado situation there in Dinwiddie County.
Moving on northward, coming across I-85 for, I don't know, 4th or 5th time it seems like today. This is the smallest of all of them. It's the one that really, like I said, if you're on the interstate there, it's going to be crossing over the interstate here very shortly. If you live near the Five Forks area, Brett, there, just by the way, there's a fork somewhere in the road everywhere here on the eastern side of Virginia. We've already gone through that with our viewers, those people who are watching, who are trying to get me some more information about how everything became a fork. But I'd certainly, if you're very indecisive about your life, you don't want to end up over here at this point because there's a fork in every road. But down to the south here, DeWitt, it's already over with there. McKinney, it's already gone through there, but the tornado warning does continue here. They're going to have to either reissue it or decide what to do. It's a broad rotation now. It's no longer gate to gate, shear to shear, pixel to pixel sort of a situation. There's pixelization in between the directions, but it was kicking there for a while, and I didn't make fun of it, but I didn't make a big deal out of it like I did. And about that time, I saw a debris signature pop up. But if you go back in time here, I can show you when I truly believe this was an active tornado was, right in this area here when it started to get gate. I didn't go back far enough, but it's the little storm that could and did.
Yeah, most definitely. One of my video stringers is actually on this tornado at the moment. I just saw Peter Forrester. You know what,
Ask him if he
David?
wants to be on.
Well, I can't get in touch with him, but I got a picture from him. I'm going to go ahead and pop this one. We're going to pop this one on here. I'm going to send it over to you and let you pop it on here. Or do you want to take
yeah.
I don't know if you have a way to take my screen full here in 1 second, and I'll share it.
You want to do that?
We can, or let's see here. If you got the,
you could open up another Ninja.
I can do that, can I?
Yeah.
Let me try that. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, because I could open up a second window and just have the screen share window in there, couldn't I?
Ninja maybe.
Video room. 1 second, guys. 1 second.
Well, anyway, that's what we're looking at. We still have a tornado watch here in effect, by the way, that we've been talking about for a while. They issued it a little bit further through the afternoon. We have some showers coming into D.C. now at the moment, coming in across the Potomac River and moving into the eastern side, if you will, over near Chesapeake Beach and Bay. And those are just showers, though. We don't have any thunderstorms. It's going to start raining in Annapolis here very shortly, as well as Fredericksburg and beyond on the western side of I-75. Very small signatures beginning to show up. Nothing is really large here anymore. I had some folks asking about Lynchburg on the site there not too long ago. Lynchburg, you're going to have more rain coming in. In fact, it's going to start raining more and more across the western side of Virginia here very shortly. And now, Brett, you need to talk. And let me get that on screen.
All right. Do you see that?
Yeah, I do.
All right. 1 second. I'm working to.
Because that's pretty awesome. Do you want me to cut it, paste, crop it?
There? Yeah, it won't let me crop it out on this, I don't think.
All right. Hold on a sec.
Let's see. I'm trying to see if I've got double audio feedback now. All right.
I'll cut.
I should be good.
Yeah, I'll cut volume off too.
Okay, yeah, you're good. It was my feedback. I had to just get that situated. That's pretty crazy right there, though. One of my video stringers from Live Storms Media, Peter Forrester, is out there chasing the storms in the area, and he's got drone up in the air. We've got a screenshot here we're going to show you of the tornado. You see that tornado there at the base of the cloud. You can see that is actually down, reaching the ground level. So Dave's going to get that.
Give me 1 second. I'll go full screen with that. Hold on.
Momentarily. You can actually just try to shrink it in the window. There you go. Guys, we're working this whole thing out, working to try to get you some of the stuff now. There we go. You can see that's a tornado there. You can see that it's extending down. I'm using my cursor here to show you where that is actually on the ground right there. And you can see that that's lifting up into the cloud. This is what we call the wall cloud region. And then this is the supercell thunderstorm. And you can see behind it's got a little flanking line that's going down through there. And it's sunny.
Yeah.
Beyond this cell over in this area, it's sunny out there. So these are low precipitation type supercells, great for viewing tornadoes if you get those type of
When was this? When did he shoot this?
This was right around 3:10 local time here, so it would have been 4:10 Eastern time. That's only 13 minutes ago that was taken.
Look how tiny that thing.
13 minutes ago that was taken, right? So crazy to think that's
zoomed in on it there a little bit.
There you go. That's what we were dealing with. But again, this particular image, this is off of his drone. This is a still shot from his drone there, but you can see right down in this area right here is where you had tornado on the ground. Kind of see a little bit of debris there, maybe being pulled up, and look behind it. You can see these little areas of scud right here that are being pulled into the circulation. So that was on the ground, and that's what we're dealing with out there. So let's pop it back to the radar. I'm gonna get away from this particular image and see if I can't scope some more. If I get anything else, David,
yeah, let me know, or put it, throw it up there.
We'll be able to throw it up there pretty quick now. So
yeah, almost gone. I mean, we went from having a tornado there to almost gone now as far as the signature goes down here just north of Dinwiddie. You can actually see, if you look at it, that the levels of intensity or decibels going back to the radar side are just so small at the moment here. There's only a little bit still going on there. I don't see anything going back and forth. Let me put the other radar back up here so we can have a single-site next-rad image. But that's what it looks like at the moment. The reflectivity, the velocity data coming back, there's still, something. It's still rotating there. Maybe a funnel cloud near Confederate Woods, which is a spooky area, Brett, by the way. Confederate Woods there's ghosts there.
Well, the Weather Service has went ahead and let's see what they've done. They have issued a special weather statement on that cell now. They dropped the tornado warning. They're dropping the tornado warning now, and they went with a special weather statement. They saw the decline in intensity as well that we were looking at. So they have dropped that down to just a special weather statement. So that makes sense. Makes sense to me. Let's see what else we got here.
Yeah, there's literally nothing in the inbound or outbound. There's really nothing going back and forth.
Right. Let's see. I'm continuing to search here, scavenge, and see what I can find in terms of.
Yeah, we're still talking about the fact that we have a severe thunderstorm watch back. Excuse me, back to the west, back into Texas. So we'll let you know should anything happen there. I'm kind of watching it behind me here on the big screen. It's a big honking line of strong thunderstorms coming across that area there in western Texas around College Station at the moment, and I-45 near Huntsville. So we'll keep our eyes on that. That's a projected area to have some super large hail today, Brett. And I don't know if you got anybody out over there, but maybe we'll get some pictures of some big
working on it.
Hail.
Working on that. I've got some guys down in Texas. Bob Pack's down there.
Oh yeah.
Let's see.
The Packster.
One second. I'm talking to Peter now. He said he's going to work to get us that drone video ASAP. So I've got to step out of the office here for just one moment, David. If you want to take that radar, I'll be right back with you here in just a few minutes.
I got it, and I'll do it. We'll get in on that in just a couple of seconds. Let me take the full screen here for just a second. Take you out of it.
Oh, it's okay. I can just kill the.
There you go.
I
like that better.
Yep.
I have much
and you don't have to mess with
it. So once again, we had a tornado there for a short amount of time. We had a tornado that was, well, I don't know if it was a short amount of time. I mean, when we saw it, I think it was at its death. That last couple of 2-3 minutes there, I think it was dying. I don't think much was going on. It still wants to rotate. If you look at it there, it's trying to. But that's one of the smallest sort of situational deals that you'd see, situations of having a one small cell. Look at it. It's out there in the middle of nowhere, a loner, but there's enough spinning there for that to go ahead and take place and end up being a tornado there in that area. So that's going to be what's going on at the moment. A general downturn. I guess if they were going to be issuing now on anything, it would be certainly be a downturn on that tornado watch. There's no reason to upswing or move the tornado watch because there's just not much there any longer. All this stuff that's offshore remains offshore, will continue to move offshore. It's not going to be anywhere close to coming on shore again. So all that stuff, why did I go black on black? Let's go red on black. All of this is that direction. So that's not coming on shore anytime soon. That'll be gone. The tornado that we have there in the central sections of Virginia is still... that tornado warning is gone, but they've downgraded that for the time being. We'll focus a little bit of attention down to the south into Texas here at the moment. We don't have warnings, but we do have a watch that's in effect across this area, and we're looking for new thunderstorms to take place. In fact, let's go to the modeling here and take a look at what this looks like. We've got these thunderstorms down here to the south, and we'll look at one of the latest models to take a look at what is projected to happen here as we go through the rest of this afternoon. This is what it's supposed to look like at 3 p.m., as you can see, according to her model. And then as we go through the remainder of this evening, 3 p.m., and there's where the big cells, I mean, literally, I think this watch is in effect for like these 3 huge cells that are projected to take place, and the ones that would contain the large hail would be involved there inside of this. These are going to be areas where we've got cold atmosphere up into the upper part of the atmosphere, and then these would be hail producers, these 3 right there as we go through the rest of this evening. These will be producing some 2.5 inch size hail that might be taking place as we go into that and moving on through. Any developing snow? Not truly at this point. I don't think we have any developing snow, but that's the area that we're watching there well to the south that we've been keeping an eye on for a while now. The rest of the region, in fact, we'll just take a look. We'll look with you at any of the current winter weather that's ongoing across the north. There are a few places up here where we've had heavy snow during the past 24 hours. A few little snow showers that have developed into Duluth in these waves near two harbors. That's Superior, Lake Superior area. But the big storm has moved on. We got another storm system coming on shore well over here into the west that is already producing some snow into the Cascades. Yakima getting some of the snowfall there too. That's coming in and along the interstate I-90 there on the western side of eastern side of Mount Rainier, if you will. But Yakima all the way down to the south into the mountainous areas there along and throughout Oregon. You can see some of the scattered showers there. It's all leading to a big low pressure that is offshore. Satellite might give us a good idea of what's happening there with a big picture of that overall. We'll go to the CONUS and take a look here. You look into the west, and there it is coming onshore. That doesn't give me enough, let's see, northeastern Pacific. How about that? Yeah, there you go. Big low pressure center that's coming onshore again south of Vancouver and the island. And that thing's going to be dumping quite a bit of precipitation along the coastal areas. You can see the cold air wrapping in around this thing and behind it. That's what all this stuff is right here. Those are cold cues that are coming in on the western side, but the big low pressure center itself is wrapping up and doing so pretty nicely right here. There's your low pressure center. The adjacent cold front goes down to the south, a tiny little area right there, but all this is a cold front that'll be diving southward, coming along the coastal areas. Why didn't that go blue? There we go. Can't redraw it. Dave. Anyway, it's cold front coming into Eugene now. That's some heavy rain into Coos Bay over to the Eureka area of Northern California. All this is sliding in out over the Pacific. Several storms out over the Pacific that we are looking at, that we're following here, that will be doing so as we go through the next 24 hours. But the long wave energy says, IR says, as it goes eastward, we're dumping quite a bit of snowfall for the Cascades later on tonight. I'm not really sure what that count is going to be, but it's going to be pretty high, I think, when you get into the northern Cascades with some of this stuff as we go through and into the next 24 hours. We'll be looking out for that situation as it does go along. Let me see if I can find anything from out in that area there. I'm sure I can. Hold on one second with me. Because we care about everybody. What is that? Except if you don't have stories for the day. Hey, down to the south, we don't really have anything there either. People.
Yeah, I'm taking a look here, David. I'm back with you, by the way.
I see you.
Digging here through just some of our different sources here currently. Waiting on Peter. Peter's going to get us a video up here shortly so that we can get a real good view of.
Did he see that kind of in its entirety? Because it was there for a while.
Yep, he did. He saw it from the wall cloud state. And I actually have seen more videos of it. I can't really bring them on here. That's the reason I'm waiting on Peter's material to come across, because he's got really, really good
Just kind of checking out the satellite imagery here back and forth, and you were discussing this earlier. You can see the breaks in the cloud cover. That was one of the things. We went from sunshine to having what looked like a typical afternoon thunderstorm popping up from the south. That ended up, some of them on the southwestern corner had tornadoes associated with them. We had numerous tornado warnings into Richmond. Looked like we had a tornado on the ground in Richmond there. If you went solely by the radar data, because we did have some ground reflection, some debris reflection coming in. Have you heard anything out of Richmond at all? Because that went through there, and then there was little fanfare.
Nothing. That's what I'm looking at it, and absolutely nothing thus far from that area. And I've got a lot of contacts up there.
Mm,
So, I have not heard anything specific thus far from Richmond, which is good news because that's
always.
very populated. There's no way that we wouldn't have heard something.
That's what I kept saying. There were about 300,000 people who were in the polygon alone, and I figured we would have heard something from someone had that been the case. But
Right. That couplet area looks to be it looks to be dying off, which is good news for the near term. The only thing that I've found is that there was a tree knocked down northeast Mechanicsville at Studley Road and Shelton Point Drive. That was the only thing that I've seen in terms of any damage up in that area. I know we've had some wind damage back to the southwest, down around Martinsville. Large trees down, pine trees down. So
yeah,
kind of the same type of situation. I don't see any other reports just yet. So color me a little surprised.
I'd be happy to.
I mean, on the other side of this, I don't see a lot on the radar either that's very, significant. Matter of fact, it looks like our storm here continues to go downward with its life here. Looking at the echo, matter of fact, David, the only tops on that thing now are up to only 17,000 feet, which indicates that is a dying storm. It was almost 40,000 when it was producing the tornado earlier.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
so
well, I was just kind of mentioning this while you were away. There's some thunderstorms coming through North Carolina. This is all linear too, coming through North Carolina. It doesn't look like anything cellular. That's going to be out of Winston-Salem that goes down almost Florence into South Carolina. So we knew about that. We knew about the stuff to the north here, but that is tremendously weakened over the past little while. The whole area, Brett, which is in the tornado watch. So thinking that, moreover, uh, I don't. I don't know why it would go bonkers all of a sudden. So they might either cancel or do something with that tornado watch that's in effect there. And to be quite honest with you, before that tornado warning come out, I had just said goodbye.
well, no, I'm gonna look really quickly here. I just want to check on a couple of things. The latest SPC outlook has pretty much downgraded, a lot of North Carolina. The far northeastern OBX Outer Banks areas of North Carolina are the slight risk now. Far eastern Virginia, southern Maryland there, and it looks like maybe a little sliver is that. No, it's going to be Maryland. It doesn't even extend up into Delaware.
Yeah.
Um, with that 5% tour right on the coastline. What I wanted to see is typically in these situations, the the SPC will do what we call special soundings at some of these offices when you've got these tornado situations there that are, showing and ongoing. I'm not seeing any of that. There's something's got to be going on here. I'm wondering, and I want to check this before we go. Wondering if we're dealing with a situation of temperatures aloft warming a little bit. And the reason I say that is it's very interesting. We had several little, it looked like they were developing cells, down to the south, and they really waned off over the last several hours. Like there's, warming or something going on there. Typically, when those happen, you'd be concerned and be watching those tracking up into the mid Atlantic. But they don't look like they can sustain. I'm pulling a forecast sounding here. I mean, Nothing really sticks out to me, Dave, that says these shouldn't intensify, other than maybe the only thing I can say is that the modeling and the radar confirms that these are not going to really last until that line
Yeah.
sweeps to the east. There's not a real steep lapse rate there. The lapse rates are very modest, 5.5, which is that means that we don't have a ton of cooling aloft moving over the area. You've got, instability at the surface due to the heating, but once you get up right off the surface, that instability goes away. So that updraft doesn't accelerate. It doesn't, take off like a rocket ship. That's the reason we're seeing these storm tops very modest, not very low, because there's not a lot of cooling with height. So the instability is fat down in the very low levels right there near the surface. But as you go up off the surface, instability really wanes a lot. So a weakening trend in the near term may be the key, that because there's no point of real convergence until you get back to that line, which is now really effectively like a front going to the northeast with
Very
a
much so. Yeah. Yeah, I drew a little front on there a while ago because that's pretty much what it is at this point. The low pulling out over the Carolinas. We had a couple of tornado warnings over there near into western North Carolina, actually. Dew point was 48, and we had a tornado warning. High point, actually at Beach Mountain, there was a tornado warning with 48-degree dew point, and it was real.
right. So, David, I tell you what, I'm gonna pull something on my screen over here, and I want to take it. So I think I see one of the reasons that we're having issues here. Hold on one second. Let me get it on the screen here and share the proper screen. Let's see. All right, I got it on there.
Yeah, hold on.
Hopefully,
I
I
had
tell
it
you what,
zoomed
David,
in.
if you can stretch that out and zoom that in, all I want to show is
Uh,
that wind field. You see that wind field? There's very little convergence there. Very little. You got unidirectional. Basically, you got flow just off of the surface that's running in one direction through the column. And typically, that's not a great tornado environment. You want to see those winds veer with height quite a bit. And once you get just above the surface, a couple thousand feet up, they run in the same direction for 30,000 feet through the atmosphere there. Pretty wild. Pretty wild there. You got a little bit of turning in the very lowest 1,500 feet, and then they run pretty much in one direction. That's what we call a hodograph that we look for. We look for this to kind of loop around and shoot out. And that's kind of how your supercells look. You've got a hook at the bottom, and then you look for those to shoot out. But this one's all kind of messed up
yeah,
because it gets to a wind speed and it doesn't really intensify from about 1,500. Well, excuse me, probably about 3,000 feet above the surface up to about 30,000 feet. It's real pinch there. Everything's the same speed and moving the same direction. You want to see this wind veer and increase with height. So you would like to see this hodograph do something like this, like a big hook,
yeah.
and it's not doing that for tornadoes. So lack of convergence, I think, is one of our big issues.
All right, so I'm ready to have a drink of water. You?
There you go.
All right.
I think, guys, we will have video on the channel. Actually, let's see. I got a video that I can show here if you'll give me just 1 second of the tornado itself.
Okay,
Gonna give the guy,
put it back up
gonna
over there.
give the yeah, I'm just actually gonna show his Twitter page here on this. Give me 1 second. Throw it up because he just wanted a credit and a shout out to his Twitter page here. And
Dude, we can
I'm gonna
shout you out. I got no problem shouting you out.
And there it is. I'll let you get that in the frame, and we'll show that video here live.
Give me one
Uh,
sec.
Austin Evans. Thank you, Evan. Evan Freiberger is actually friends with him and has communicated with him to get permission so that we could show this here on the air. And we're going to do that here in 1 second.
Moment secular. You can't touch that. Oh, you can touch that. What are you doing? You can't change it while I'm changing it, though.
Messing with you a little bit, more
A
or less. There you
little.
go. There you
Hold
go.
on, let me get it.
There you go. I think you're good, right?
All
That's
right, well, let
good
me
size.
stretch it out. Hold on.
Yeah,
Hold on.
think that's gonna be good.
Could have come
Got
down
it
some
there.
more. Let me come down a little more. You're gonna hit the.
I'm just gonna hit the play button. It's fine
Hit
where
the
it's
play
at.
button. Hit it.
All right. This is from Austin Evans, AUSTN Evans on Twitter, at Austin Evans. And you can see here, watch this thing rotate at the bottom of it right there. Right in
Right
there.
there.
You can see that spinning up and going up into the base of the cloud there. That is a definite funnel cloud. I can't see any debris.
So what was
But
this? Which tornado was this?
this was the one just south of Dinwiddie, the
The
one
one
we
we
were
were just
talking about.
watching a few moments
Yeah,
ago.
this was 30 minutes ago.
Okay. Well,
South of Dinwiddie.
doesn't that make sense? I mean, I love this because looking at the radar, I was downplaying it. I was like, it's a little bitty thing.
There it is.
It's a needle if it's anything, and then you see it, and it is. And
absolute sense. And then it's going to loop here for a second, but you can see it's having a trouble really getting its act together. And that's going to be one of the weaker type tornadoes if it did touch down there. It looks like here toward the end of the video, you can see it get more vertical right in here. You start to see it get more vertical, and it looks like it may be extending all the way down to the ground right around there. It gets vertical right around there. You can see where it looks like it may be down right there.
yeah.
So very quick ups. The atmosphere is spinning, but it just doesn't look like these things can become sustained. So it was really quick, and now it's pretty much over. So that's what we were seeing there. Austin Evans, thank you for letting us show that here. I think David may want to take another view of this and maybe zoom in a little bit on it. But
Yeah. Let's do this. Play it one more time for me.
Okay. Let's go back. Let's just start it from the beginning there. I mean, you can see that's a good looking area of rotation.
I know, and now to me again. I was talking about this earlier today. I learned something every day. So now the whole thing that I was watching on radar that made me think, goodness, this is actually a tornado. I mean, in visualizing that from the radar, it is kind of what I had in my head, which is another learning experience. Thank you again for letting us see that.
Do me a favor, David. Show the Twitter page, show his handle and all that in the frame too, just so that I can give him the proper credit. And he, hold
on.
Well, dadgummit. I didn't realize that I had
I went full screen, but wait a second. Now I got to figure out how to get out of it. Pull this back up.
I didn't realize that it was going back and forth between screens there. It was supposed to be set to one screen. Oh well.
Where are you though? I always take you out of the frame for some reason. Anyway, let me fix this. And my face is going to show up here, but I'm going to do one thing at a time. Let's see. Go back out. Pull this out. See if I can go full screen with everything. Do you want me to go full screen or show?
Just you can just show his Twitter handle up there. Dadgummit. I gotta quit jumping pages. I know.
Here it
there
is.
You go. There you go. Everybody give him a follow there in Virginia. That was really good imagery. We appreciate you letting us use that, Austin.
Yes.
But really good looking imagery there. I don't know if anybody can hear me at all, but anyway,
I hear you. I heard you.
yeah,
I'm sorry.
it's okay. But that's what we dealt with a few minutes ago. I don't know, David, that we're going to deal with anything like that though. For a while, it looks like things have really calmed down.
Hey, okay. You've moved it again, haven't you?
Yeah, I killed it. I killed it off.
Fix it one more time. I got to do this correctly. Fix it one more time, but I need you to be quiet. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe I don't need you to be quiet. Where in the world are you?
All right, hold on. Window, Chrome tab.
There you are.
There's the deal there. It's on the screen for you now.
All right, it's gonna look really, really ugly. Well, maybe not. Now, can you give him a shout out now? Can people hear you?
Okay, there we go. Austin Evans, there's your Twitter. Basically, everybody give him a follow. He allowed us to show the video. Nice video there. Gives a real good idea based on radar of what this actually looked like. It was very tiny cell, and this was a low precipitation type deal. Very little rain falling out of it, and you can pretty much see that. We expected it to be a weaker type tornado, and this is the ground truth that we look for when watching these things. So I still can't see debris, but if it touched down, which I'm pretty sure it did based on Peter's drone, nice video. Everybody give him a follow, retweet, like, all that good stuff. And we appreciate it very, very much. This is about 45 minutes ago. Well, yeah, about 45 minutes ago now that took place. So nice shot there. That was a right place at the right time type deal for sure.
Very much so. All right, we don't have any tornado warnings at the moment. We're still looking at what's happening down in South Texas. Those wouldn't be a lot of tornado warnings. Not to say there wouldn't be any, because it always typically seems to happen down there. That's severe thunderstorm watch, mainly due to the fact they're looking for 2.5-inch size hail later on. How big is 2.5? Is that golf ball?
2.5 is almost baseball. 1.75 is golf ball. 2.5, I think is that hen egg or no? That's tennis ball. My bad.
Tennis
2.5
ball?
is tennis ball. Yep.
I used to have my little scale down there because I always forgot them for some reason or another. And I don't really I've already complained about the hen egg thing because I think that's really just fascist. I don't like
that.
It.
That is a Penny loves it, I'm sure. That's a 2-inch that's 2-inch Hale's hen egg.
I had Penny on last night I had Penny on? I don't remember. Was it
last night and the night before, I believe.
She hadn't laid an egg since.
Right. Oh, she feels
she was laying violated. 2 a day, and Penny hadn't laid an egg since I had her on television. That's a true story. All right, Brad, I got to eat something. I got to go to the bathroom. I got to do some other stuff. But thank y'all for being with us today. I appreciate you. Can I wrap it up?
Yeah, I think it's time.
All right. We thank y'all for being with us today. We had one tornado warning, and that was all right, but we had 2 or 3 of them, so we decided to jump on the air here just to give you some information, because that's what we do, and we're going to be doing more and more of it as we go along. We hope that you'll join us. This is LSM Television. Did I just name that? Did I just give us are we LSM Television?
I guess.
We're LSM Television. He's Brett. I'm David. We appreciate you being with us. Going to wrap it up right now. Should we have anything else happen the rest of this evening, we do hope that you'll look back again, see if we're on. Brett's got some video that'll be coming to the channel here momentarily, as he has a wide-ranging skew of weather analysts who are out there and about, who are watching the weather and bringing us the real time. See, I didn't have any video today. I was telling you what was happening, but I couldn't see it, so we needed Brett to be able to show it to us. We're going to be doing more and more of that, and we thank you for being with us. Nothing on the verge of happening here just yet that looks like it would blossom to cause us to be back on, but we do appreciate you being with us. We're going to be going. Brett, if you'll wave to the camera, we'll be gone. Coming up in 3,